Hey, what's up, everybody? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcaster. It is Rapid Spars. What is that doing there? That's not supposed to be there. It's supposed to already be... Look at this. What kind of amateur hour is this? Anyway, here's what I got for you guys. My name is Rapid Spars. I host a show called The Grappling Hour. You're watching it right now. I'm super stoked for you guys to join us. Hey, this is going to be an amazing night. We've got a Conor McGregor fight, and we've got you guys joining us on this fight companion. Super stoked for that. Here's how it works. You guys will not get to see necessarily the actual thing. As you may have heard, Dana White is cracking down on people. Hint, it's not me. But no, the way that we do this is y'all watch this. We give you guys highlights of what's happening. We also cheers those people who get finishes within regulations. And more importantly, we take your questions within the comment section. So we're stoked to have you join us. We're going to be watching the whole UFC 257 card, and I cannot be more happy that you guys will be joining us here for our fight companion. It's going to be a blast, and I want to give some shout outs first and foremost to our friends over at xmarshall.com. Use the promotional code GRAPPLINGHOUR15. You'll get 15% off of whatever you put in your cart. Plus, if you use the promotional code VerbalTap on Manscaped at manscaped.com, you will get 20% off there, and go give us some love to our friends over at Dodgy Collective. That's what we got. That's the stuff that we talk about. You guys are part of the show, so the more that you talk, the more that we have a show to talk about. I also want to tell you guys this. It's a very simple process. We cheers those who get finishes within regulation here. So those who get a submission or a knockout, we give them a toast on the show, and we will give you a toast as well. The way that you get it is super simple. All you have to do is give us a like and a share on Facebook or a subscription on YouTube, and we will give you the same toast that we give the fighters who get finishes within regulation. Think about that. You're not even an MMA fighter, and yet you'll get treated in the exact same way we will treat them for doing amazing finishes. So, hit me with the questions. Bekir Elmari says, how many fight left? Well, it's at the very beginning of the pay-per-view, which means there's still 5 fights left for us to see this evening. So that is how we are starting things off. Do me a solid, throw your questions at me. We'll pop them up on the screen. In a few minutes, we're going to be joined by our good friend, Senor Mike Frosto. But until then, we are going to take our time. We're going to wait. We've got Andrew Sanchez about to do a walkout in just a few minutes. So do not go anywhere. I hope that you've got a beer. I hope that you've got food around you. Maybe you've got friends. I don't really know what your situation is. And thanks, brother. No, thank you, sir. I'm super stoked that we have all of you guys joining us on all of the different entities that there are to watch fights. Let's talk a little bit about how we do this. Omade says, how are you, sir? I'm actually doing pretty good right now. How are you doing? Are you enjoying the fights? Who do you have? Do you have McGregor or do you have Poirier? And follow-up question, do you like the new McGregor or do you like the old shit-talking McGregor? Because the new McGregor is all about respect. And that seems, all things considered, maybe a little bit weird in this day and age because he and Dustin Poirier had the equivalent of a pillow fight over on their post, or their pre-presser, I guess we should call it. So anyway, that is how I'm doing this evening. My question to you guys is, are you giving us a like and a share? Are you telling people to watch along with us? Because we love making it a communal experience. For example, right now I can tell you that Adam Miguel Smith is 1 share away from getting a cheers. I see the like, I do not see the share yet. But if you give us a share, we will give you the due props that you are deserved here. We are so excited that you guys are joining us. And I see here it says, I'm a Khabib fan. Understood? Do you think he's going to come back? I totally understand. He probably won't. You're saying that you're going to go with Dustin. I think that's a good pick. I think I'm going with McGregor still. There's something weird about a dude who knocked out another dude who, even though he is an accomplished fighter, I'm just not there. And it says, I will follow you forever. You're a good man, sir. Well, thank you very much. That's super nice of you to say. I can't tell where this photo is at. I don't know who is in the photo with you, but I appreciate that. And it said, no. No, I'm guessing that's in response to you don't think he's going to come back. Dana White seems to be of the mindset that he can trick somehow Khabib Nurmagomedov to come on back. I would argue it seems like wolf tickets. Does it not? Does it not seem like it's some sort of bullshit that he's feeding us right now? It's nice to hold out hope, but it is what is there. I see that Steve is saying Conor looks confident. I do have to agree with you there. This looks like a very motivated Conor, and as we know, it is very, very intriguing to see how that'll play out. And it says, oh yes, 1-2 round Conor. Okay, and that is from Amir Khan. Okay, I see all of these notes. Thank you so much. This is great stuff. Y'all are being beautifully nice this evening, and it's making me super excited that we've got a good group of people to walk around and chat some fights with tonight. And I also am equally excited about our Chandler and Hooker fight. Like, how are we not talking about that some more? This is the UFC debut of one Mike Chandler. And it says here, I am a Khabib fan, and I will never go with Conor. You know what? Maybe you need to go with the approach that Khabib's dad had, which was that he actually invited Conor to come to their house. Think about that. With all of the insults that were traded back and forth between those two, there was no love lost between them. There was even a fight after the fight. And yet, Khabib's dad said, you know, I don't really take any of that to heart. It's all in the past. Now, granted, it doesn't make what he did cool, because he was quite stupid at that time, and questionably under some cocaine. I mean, substance. I mean, what? Who said that? Anyway, that's what I got. Omid is saying Dana is too greedy. Yeah, that's a hard one to say. I think Dana's just trying to do his job as a promoter. I think it's super silly. Who knows if he'll be able to pull it off? Maybe they've got a deal that we just aren't privy to. But if you're putting it on the notes, it doesn't seem like Khabib really has any reason to come back tonight. And saying that there's some sort of game show element that all of a sudden Dana's going to change Khabib's mind or someone's going to impress Khabib. Khabib hasn't been impressed with that division since day one. So anyway, I see here Adam saying, was on Conor, but I'm feeling Dustin. I'm feeling Chandler KO. Okay, I'm kind of with you on Chandler. I think I was feeling Chandler a little bit here. I can't tell you a rhyme or reason. It's just kind of where I was at. But Conor and Dustin, let's see if Dustin can do it, because if Dustin does make the upset, that would be interesting. However, I don't think that intrigue is a Khabib into there. And it says, I like respectfully journalists like you, good sir. Oh my goodness, thank you so much. And yes, his dad does forgive him. And it says, yes, I agree, but this guy never admitted Khabib is champ. Okay, let's discuss the difference between promoting fights and being a good person. So by all accounts, Conor is selling this fight. A fight that doesn't even exist. So I totally understand that. I wouldn't say loan Conor money, not that he would need it from me, but I would tell you there is a difference between selling a fight and coming up with something that, in my opinion, all things considered, we saw him get the crap kicked out of him. Comes up with a very funny line that says he was never crowned champion because they had a backstage brawl. Like, that's funny. That's a good line. I can't take away from that. And if there is something that Conor is really good at, it is using his mouth to promote the fights. And, respectfully, it elevated Khabib to a status that he wouldn't have achieved without him. So it's kind of like Batman and Joker. They're almost kind of intertwined in their weird stories. So there is that unfortunateness that goes along with those two. We are seeing a walkout over here. I actually am going to apologize. This is Amanda Ribas that is walking up first. They had a very weird ordering to the fighters and how they were going to come out. They actually did, I think, their photos first, even though I thought that they were bumped on the fourth part of the card. Doesn't matter. We have a fight coming up. So I'm very excited about that. Very excited to bring you guys into what we're doing here. It is going to be a very, very good time all night long. So it says, I was a Conor fan, but he crossed the line with Khabib. That's it. He doesn't deserve the rematch. I understand what you're saying here. I get that. The hard part about Conor versus Khabib is that the narrative is that if Conor does beat Dustin Poirier again, and he proves that he's continuously at the top of that division, it seems like they just want him to do one more fight and then potentially he's back in title contention. I can't really disagree with that. the hardest part about Conor as an entity is that he is maybe the best in the division except for Khabib. So if you take that into consideration, at any given point, he is a former champ, and those people tend to get rematches. So I get what you're saying there. But I think respectfully, it would make sense. Plus, if you look at the rest of the division, I mean, Khabib starched most of those people. If Dustin Poirier wins tonight, I don't even know that he can justify fighting Khabib again. I think he might be the first person to say, you know what, I'm good. Don't get me wrong, I will fight him if you make me to, but... And it says, yes, I agree with you if he beats Dustin. And that's going to be a tall order. Dustin has a lot of focus, a lot of energy that he's coming into this fight with. Of course, great charity, great work on this one. And it says, look like a good KO. Absolutely, that would be a lot of fun here. I just wonder how much money Dana would be pouring into this rematch to try and install Khabib into coming back in. Because I think Khabib is pretty okay in terms of what he has accomplished in the UFC. So we'll have to see here, guys. We'll go from there. Cosign indeed. Absolutely. Adam Miguel Smith, you are reading my mind. I'm going to do a quick look up here to see if you guys have given likes and shares to this broadcast. If you have any questions, let me know. I'm more than happy to take your notes, your comments, your concerns, your hints, allegations, all of that good stuff. So I'm super happy here. I see 3 shares, but I can't see who has shared it because of their privacy settings. So if you want to do me a solid, just tell me in the chat if you have given it a share if I can't see your privacy settings, and I'll give you a toast. I feel like that's a nice way to make up for it. And that's where we're at, guys. This is great. And it says, yes, he is set for life. Absolutely, dude. That's some good money. And it seems like Khabib is also going to be starting up his own fight organization, which begs the question, is that what Dana is using as a leverage in the negotiations to bring him back? Obviously, they want to put that on Fight Pass, which, thank God, they need to have something on there. But could it be that Dana's saying, like, I will pay you well and give you the Fight Pass with a really good amount of promotion if you just come back for one fight? Even if you look at that looking for a fight footage with Khabib, where he's just trying to entice him to come back, and he's saying, like, you know, this trending is even better than you and Conor. So, like, think about it. You and Conor again, yeah? And Khabib literally could not have been more not phased. Okay. So anyway, Ben Folks just chimes in and says, I wouldn't have pegged Maria Rodriguez as a big Dropkick Murphys fan, but okay. Absolutely. That is something to note here. Woo, this is going to be a fun night. All right, I'm stoked that you guys are joining in. As I mentioned before, I cannot see who has shared it on my settings, but if you tell me, I will make sure to give you a toast, just so that we are fair to all parties involved here. We are about to see our very first fight. This is, of course, our fight with Amanda Ribas that is starting us off. Do me a solid. Give me some hearts if you're watching this on the Periscope. Give us some likes. Give us some appreciation. And we will be talking with you guys all throughout the evening. We're in for a good time here tonight. It's going to be a blast. My name's Rafa Esparza. Do us a solid. Give us a like and or follow on all of these properties right here. That is at Grappling Hour. We always love having you guys join us, and we do one of these for almost every UFC. We had a run of about 26, 30 events that we did these all in a row for, and it actually got broken this week when they had the early 6 a.m. card, and I would have loved to have done that. I don't know that I would have been drinking. It's just that I had to work. So otherwise, we're here as long as they're on the weekends and, you know, at a normal, regular time, because this is nice to have it at a normal, regular person time. Feels like a regular thing to see here. But as we mentioned a little bit earlier, yes, we do have Amanda Ribas heading into the UFC cage. Her opponent is going to be a good test for her because you do have Marina versus Amanda. So Marina Rodriguez and Amanda Ribas. Hope that you guys have it. Tell me who you have on this one. And it says, I retweeted this, sir. Oh, look at this. All right. I mean, this cheers goes on out to you, sir. I want to say this about you. A lot of people don't know this, but you, sir, are the first person to ever suggest that people share things on social media. You can go back to the whole early days of the internet. You were the first person to like and retweet. I know that for sure. Here's what I got for you. Much love, much appreciated. Cheers to you. Look at this, Adam Miguel Smith. I'm going to come back to you in a second. We got action happening right in front of us, but I will make sure to get you a toast. Action happening on my clock. It is Rodriguez Ribas. It is 4:40 approximately, so if you're on a little bit of delay or you're a little bit ahead of me, bear with us. This is how we do things. You got a Ribas in the yellow, and you've got Rodriguez in the black apparel. Already starting off swinging. You see Rodriguez starting to try and hit her combinations while backpedaling a little bit. Ribas coming in, very aggressive, steps forward. I like what I'm seeing here. Rodriguez keeps circling, though, and Ribas is making sure to keep her at a distance so that she doesn't get too far out. Chasing her down all the way over in the octagon. You see a straight right-hand punch, followed up by a second here. Ribas not taking too much of that slack. Out of the distance the entire time. There is a kick by Ribas as she continues pressing to move forward. Rodriguez slides back over into the center of the octagon. Good 1-2 combination there by Rodriguez. And it's very interesting. Both of them very light on their feet. This was the first of 3 rounds for the beginning bout of this pay-per-view. Nice double unders here. A takedown attempt, and yes, she will score the finish of this takedown. She will be put into Rodriguez's guard, and Rodriguez is trying to take the back here, but there is an elbow that is planting right where the stomach is that is going to prevent that from happening. Doing an excellent job of making sure that she will not be swept in this particular position, though many people would have their back taken in this particular juncture. You are seeing on top Ribas trying to maybe work a pass here, but this is some incredible flexibility, if we're being honest. And it says, what is your, let me ask you a question. When the main fight starts, will you start staying live here? I'm going to be here all night. I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to be here for all of the fights. I want to make sure that you guys have somebody who is both narrating it, and we're also going to have a friend of the show show up who will be talking as well and joining us for the fight companion. His name is Michael Frosto, an amazing 10th Planet Brown Belt. So that's what we got. We're here for the long haul, like I said, man. This is a good time. We got a lot of fans, friends that join in and come in and out on these things. This is, par for the course. So while we're waiting for Ribas to continue working from inside a guard, there's 2:15 on my clock. You are seeing her slowly put in a little bit of pressure, whereas Rodriguez has maybe enough of an underhook where she could start working a butterfly grip or a butterfly sweep here, not really taking her up on this. And it says Wormwood gang all night. Absolutely, Adam. You know that shit. Yo, that's the best part about that Wormwood gang. People don't even understand. Like, I gotta tell you, man, there's nothing worse than telling people where they'd be like, where you from when you were a kid? And you tell them, Hacienda Heights. They're like, dude, that's not threatening. I'd be like, yeah, I live on Wormwood. Bro, that's not scary. Like, you live a pretty okay life. And I'd be like, yeah, well, fuck yeah, I can't argue with that. All things considered, we live a pretty okay life. And it says, where are you? I'm in Brentwood, California. That's awesome. I'm out in the valley. So I'm not too far from you, my friend. Do a lot of training. Make my there. And it says, salute to your familia, brother. Salute to you, my friend. Always good to see you. I'm going to get you on a cheers in a few seconds, though. I got 57 seconds left here. You've got good controlling of the posture. You are seeing a little bit of distance for Ribas where she is maybe going to be able to pop out of this guard, but excellent job by Rodriguez maintaining it, maintaining that closed guard. And it says, good people are good people. Absolutely, man. That's a beautiful part about growing up with excellent folks in your life is when you find your way to seeing each other again, or now with all this electronic communication, you can put out these videos and you guys can see us. I'm always surprised by who stops by, but people like you, my best friend Bobby, who comes in these things, I always get a kick out of it because I was not watching UFC when I was a kid. So it is pretty dope that we all get to share and watch something as cool as this. And that is the end of the very first round. Let us do a cheers. Speaking of which, this one goes out to longtime friend of the show, one Adam Miguel Smith. First and foremost, I don't know if you guys know this about Adam Miguel Smith. Smoothest rhymes in the land. If you guys want a good rap, if you guys want to hear something that is good flow, you gotta check out my man, Adam Miguel Smith. He's a bad motherfucker. I love that guy. Cheers to you, bud. So my apologies for starting a little bit later on this one. I had a nice little reunion with a lot of different friends that I have made in the late night community. They wanted to get together. I said, could it be any other night than, say, a Conor McGregor fight night? And they said, you know, it's kind of a nice day for us. So I got together with them. Now I'm back here with you guys. I'm crushing this day. I am enjoying it. I have gotten to see so many wonderful people digitally, and now we get to close out the night with some great fights. I'm in a fucking great mood, and I hope that you are too. Let me just double check, make sure that we've got everybody here. I'm seeing some other folks sending notes, but that is what is happening in our little notation. I see a summary of new activity from the Verbal Tap group and Page Insights. I didn't know that's a thing. All right, thanks, Facebook. I'll check that one out later. Woo. All right, round number dos happening right in front of our eyes. Ribas looking a little bit better in this round. Good overhand right crack by Rodriguez. Doesn't find a home. They're talking a little bit. Ooh, Rodriguez clips Ribas, and she is in trouble. It looks like Herb is going to stop this one. And yes, as you see Ribas trying to hold on for a single leg, she is so rocked. No, the fight's not over. What the fuck? Did he let it just come back to life? How the fuck did that happen? I think Herb actually let this fight come back into existence and almost isn't sure if that's what's supposed to happen here. And yes, Rodriguez gets a finish while standing. Herb has seen enough. That was a very confusing series of events, and you do see Ribas talking with one of the doctors as if maybe still a little confused as to what's happening. But yes, Marina Rodriguez is the winner of that bout, and we will be doing a cheers to her because, as we've mentioned on this show before, those who get finishes within regulation get a cheers. Wow. I gotta go back and see that because that looked like it could have been just a jab that really fucked her up. And I mean significantly did some damage here. Let's see what the replay looks like, and I will do my best to describe it for you if in the event you are not watching it. The two ladies are in the center of the octagon now giving each other a big hug. Oh no, that was not a jab, that was a right hook. Now granted, this could have been a very, very understood finish here, and Herb never actually touched her. Wow, that's an impressive fact. And then Herb doesn't seem to suggest anything other than, hey, I never touched you. And Marina Rodriguez goes right back into it. Holy crap, man. That's an intense series of events that happens here. And yet Marina stays consistent, stays right on Ribas' face to the point where she hit her so hard, Ribas was standing flat-footed, not even aware, really, from my opinion, that the fight was over. Insane. Saluting, dude. Good lord. That's scary, dude. I gotta tell you, I 100% agree with Herb Dean doing the finalization here. Wow, what an intensity. So, that is what we're seeing in front of us at this moment. Well, let's see what she is going to say in her post-fight interview. That'll be very telling to hear what we're seeing right in front of us, which is, good lord. We do have a translator out here. Anik is asking, big win. Hurdles. All right. First question has been translated on over to her. Yeah, I think Anik is now asking her a little bit of the situation as to why the confusion of what was going on in that one really was. So that's very strange to see how that had transpired, especially when you saw that she was kind of, I mean, that's enough where she could have been touched right then. I'm not saying that Herb did. You can see back in the replay that Herb was essentially keeping his distance from her. So, damn, y'all. And it says here, Herb Dean came close, but he had his hands out. So I thought I was throwing a lot of punches, and she was immobile. But once the fight got back on, I said, let's go. Yikes. What a fucking insane series of events there. So, what an incredible series of events, my friends. All right. I'm very excited to talk to you guys right now because we have a friend of the show returning back here. I definitely want to make sure that y'all... Oh, look at this. She has a call out to do real quick. And I think she might have scared John Anik, if we're being honest. So, all of those things and much, much more. Anyway, as we mentioned just a second ago, we have a guest. Very stoked that he is joining us. He is a friend of the show. You may recognize him as somebody who has done an excellent breakdown of our good friend Chase Hooper's heel hook. He is also an accomplished jiu-jitsu coach and practitioner. Our good friend, one Michael Frosto. Senor Frosto, how are you, sir?
I was doing good. How you doing, brother?
Very good. Your voice is a little low, so I'm hoping if you guys...
How about that?
That's a little bit better. How are you doing? What have you been up to today, sir?
Just prepping for the fights. I had stuff to get done, and now I got set up by like 3:30 to get ready for 4 o'clock. So I was counting down. I was ready for it.
So we've seen one finish here tonight. We have to do a cheers for that. I have not done it yet, but did you get to see the finish on that one?
I did. I was actually just talking to our boys, Jordan, Kevin, all them about it. What do you think about it? What are your thoughts?
Okay, so my first thought was I thought that Herb was signaling that it was done, and I was confused as to why he wouldn't just say like, all right, we've seen enough here, right? But he never officially touched Rebus. So then it becomes a matter of, oh, we got to let this fight continue. And then once you see Rodriguez put it on her and she's standing and doesn't know that the fight has actually come to a conclusion, all you can think of is, oh, well, it's unfortunate, but yeah, I can be fine with this. What do you think?
Yeah, I think, well, as for the part when like he started to come in, I would have stopped it there. Like I would have been cool with that. He didn't touch her. He stopped. I don't know. They showed the replay. I didn't really see like what they saw that made him kind of back up. She was kind of getting up, but that I would have been more comfortable with. But once you allow her to get back up, like she walked away, she had not a ton of time to recover, but enough that warranted more than just taking one shot on the feet and then stopping. I think she could have gone a little bit more because the previous little barrage she took was way worse than that one shot on the feet. But that's just me. She still would have gotten beat either way. But
you're somebody who has fight experience, so I can defer to you on some of this. But have you ever been hit so hard that you stayed standing but didn't move? Like you just are frozen? Because that's what it looked like happened to Rebus, in my opinion.
Yeah. No, I agree. But, I mean, she did start moving. She just didn't throw back. She was still, like, kind of on her feet moving around. But she wasn't looking like she was prepping for any shots or anything. I also didn't see how much time was left on the clock. Was that, like, towards the end of the round?
It was a little bit towards the end. I'll get you an official time on the stoppage here in a second. But I just like the fact that it looked like somebody got a remote control and pressed pause on her. Like, they looked at her, and then all of a sudden it was just like, and punch.
That was a glitch in the Matrix. 100%.
And it was more disrupting to me in that everybody was already in the octagon and was already celebrating and was already talking to each other. The doctor's already there, and she's still like,
Yeah, I will admit that when they stopped it, the glaze look in her eye, that was pretty rough. That she was looking in the bleachers at that point.
It's very
It's like, yeah, there's
reminiscent
no one
of.
there.
It's very reminiscent of like if somebody asked in a classroom who did the reading, and you just get that one person who's like, did you do the reading? You didn't do the reading. It's fine. It's not a problem. Frosto, what has been going on, man? Have you been doing any training? What has been going on that is new for you, sir?
No, none of that stuff. That's old news. It's a different time, Raph. It's a different time.
It's a different time.
We do different things these days. Yeah, no, haven't been doing much of that, but just been working. Same thing out here, trekking along. What we talked about last time off camera, that's in the works, and that's not something I'm going to say here. But you know what I'm talking about. I've been prepping all of that, just getting ready to make that transition. So
gotcha.
That'll be the next step, and it's close. It's coming up close. So
all right, that's good to know. I'll tell you what's going on my side. The show I worked on just wrapped, so I am now just done. Like I went yesterday, and it was the last day of work for me on that show, and it was just funny to me because all I could think about was, I don't go to work on Monday. Okay, well, this has been fun, everybody. I'm good. And it got to the point where the person who's in charge of us didn't even know it was my last day. So we finished, and he's like, hey, Raph, see you Monday. And I was like, about that. No, you won't. And he's like, oh, you're done? I was like, you're in charge of us. How do you not know? You figure where the money goes. How would you not know? So we had a very good laugh about that. So,
and as you say, I'm not going to work on Monday. There's somebody watching going like, cool, haven't been to work since March. So
that's also a very fair thing. Well, I would hope
getting
not.
paid. Still getting paid, though, I'm sure.
That's interesting. I would hope that people are doing okay. It does seem that different regions are affected disproportionately in different areas. So hopefully everybody is doing fine. My assumption, though, is that if they're ordering this fight, that they probably are doing okay enough. My other assumption is if they aren't doing okay, then they're relying on us to have good analysis and tell them what's happening. Because I don't know if you've seen, Dana White has gone on a bender telling people to stop with the illegal streams. Frosto, will that stop you?
I went to every single person I know that streams and or sends me the link so that I can watch. And I was like, so you guys gonna do it or what? You guys just you scared? Like, what happened? All of them paid for it. Every single one of them.
That's funny.
Dang. But I mean, I did too. So it is what it is. If I'm gonna pay for one, this is the one I'm gonna pay for.
I assume that you, being the good Catholic something-ish, I don't know. You're brown, so I have to say you're Catholic.
Close.
That's all.
Close.
But the brown religious person that you are, of good morals and good upstandingness, would pay for it. So I didn't even assume to say, maybe you didn't pay for it. I knew you paid for it, Michael Frosto. What I would tell you, though, is that if any time to scare people, it's on a Conor McGregor fight. You don't see Dana White doing this for Amanda Nunes fights. You don't see him coming out here and be like, I better not find out you guys are fucking illegally streaming that. Instead, he's going like, hey, go find that stream to watch Nunes fight. That'd be cool. That's cool.
I mean, I'm sure he definitely has a better shot of finding people during a Nunes fight because there's like 15% of the amount of people watching it. So he probably has a better shot this time around with the amount of people watching. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure it was just a scare tactic. I don't know if they really have a way. I mean, I have my, VPN to just kind of keep me protected in my bubble. But, it's still
smart choice.
A one-night event that I will purchase and enjoy this. So.
I will tell you this. There's nothing funnier to me than the fact that I put on I was putting out a meme on it, and we juxtaposed the Dark Knight and Dana White doing his I'm stealing them, I'm watching this guy, we know who you are, this guy's dumb sort of thing together. And on that conversation, I have people who aren't even saying it's a funny meme, but instead are asking who got the link. So even in my attempts to be funny, it's still people being like, yeah, that's nice and all, but where the fuck is the fucking crack stream, you assholes? So
it always draws a question. Everyone wants to know.
I do like this though, and it says he was calling out Jake Paul against Amanda. Yes, Adam, I don't know about this. This is some really fucking dumbass shit, though. I like the fact that you get the Paul brothers, who are now the faces of boxing.
But like, if you had to choose, who do you got winning that though? Like, let's be real.
I would love to see Amanda get the win on that one. That would be amazing, especially to see her cut the world's most chaotic post-fight interview. That's like, I want to thank everybody and my girlfriend and her girlfriend and the baby and also the baby's baby. Woo! But in broken.
I think she calls out his brother. That's what I think.
Oh, that'd be great. Absolutely.
I think it just becomes like an unlimited tirade of just MMA fighters versus YouTube stars, and it becomes its own series, and it just takes over. UFC's not even there anymore. It's gone.
Are you watching these, though? Like, are you tuning in to see the Paul brothers fighting?
I watched the last one just because it was Tyson and Roy Jones Jr., but, I mean, it depends, man. Like, how bored am I on that day? Is there anything else going on? You know, it's all circumstantial. It just depends. If there's nothing happening, for sure I'm watching.
I'm just glad that your version of it is like, am I having a good day? Like, give me a better scenario, Raph. Like, is it a Wednesday? Do I have a muffin in the morning? Like, I need a full scenario here.
Might be a day where I need cheering up, and that'll cheer me up.
That's amazing. I have to give 2 cheers on out. First of which is to a friend of the show, One According to Woods, who gave us a share on the Twitter. Hey, this cheers goes on out to pal of the show, According to Woods. If you like my show, but want to see it hosted by somebody else, and maybe not as good, but like almost as good, cheers to you, our good friend, Adam. Love you, bud. Thank you so much for tuning in. Cheers.
Not only am I supporting the UFC, I'm also supporting companies that support the UFC in Modelo.
Bullshit. Yeah, no, I see it. Are you going to be cutting a promo on Modelo, the official beer of the UFC?
We're not far away from that. Probably after this fight.
Of course.
Oh, we got a second cheers?
We do have a second cheers here, and this one I will do. Nah, actually, I don't want to do this one as Anna, because that was actually, we got to do a cheers as the winner of the last fight, Marina Rodriguez. Would you like to take that one, sir?
Yeah, I'll take it. I'm going to say it wasn't premature. That was good. Cheers to Marina for that first round. I mean, getting out of that and then coming back, she was stuck there. Those can crushes were pretty rough. I probably wouldn't say I would survive that. So cheers to her on the KO.
I was a little worried about that one. But you nailed the dismount.
Those were rough, man.
I'm very excited. So I'm glad. So when you go out and you look for beers and you're somebody who likes the crafts and the IPAs and all that sort of stuff, at what point do you settle on the Modelo? Or is it a Modelo theme that you want to give?
This was strictly leftovers. I'm going to be honest with you. This was just what was sitting there and untouched because I was filled with all the other beers that I could have chosen. But then I grabbed one, threw just a ton of lime in it. It's pretty much not even beer anymore. It's a cocktail at this point. But it's just more to make room in the fridge. I mean,
I want to point this out because Sanchez is actually walking out to what appears to be the final countdown. So I definitely have an appreciation for him walking out to that.
He's got a lot of good things going for him right now.
Okay.
Besides the music. That haircut, flawless. I mean, I've tried that before. It didn't work, but he makes it look good, and especially to this song.
Do you ever change an opinion on who you're going to root for if they have a very good haircut like that?
Yes, absolutely. Until they get put on skates, then I'm like, ooh, maybe that first guy. I had him all along, really, but I just wanted to see him win.
I would also like to bring up something, which is, did you hear the story of the fighter that got cut over the past few days because he gave somebody else the wristband? Like, how wild is that fucking story, sir?
Dude, I didn't even hear like the full story. Like when it first came out, I mean, because we know Edwin that's over there, and like all of that started coming about, and I just heard someone got cut. Like that was the first thing. Like they cut so and so, and he's off the card, and now they're swapping this around. No idea who it was, and every interview I would watch, they just kept giving like little bits of the story. I'm like, okay, I want the whole story. Like, what's happening? Like, I don't know this dude, and I still don't understand it. I mean, I get what happened, but I don't understand what they were trying to do. I guess his buddy brought something in, was trying to like scale the building to give him something in his room. I just want to know what it was.
It's very strange to hear that there was something in a bag, because it just makes you think what you got in that bag, and all of a sudden you don't know, and they don't release that information, and here we are thinking, okay, well, now I need to see an interview with that guy to figure out what the fuck happened there. According to Woods, just put out a tweet that said, "My show is 1/116th as good as Raph's." That's a very nice thing to say. I'm not going to tell you it's inaccurate, but I'm just going to say thank you for saying it.
I mean, Woods, give yourself more credit. I don't know. It's pretty close to Raph's. It's pretty close.
I would well, first of all, it's not. Second of all, I would normally say give yourself some more credit as well. It's just, it does happen to favor me, so it's kind of hard to really tell them not to. But you do bring up a good point here, Woods, which is, you say, ironic that Dana is cracking down on illegal streams but doesn't pay royalties for walkout songs. That is a very good point. I've always wondered about that.
That's interesting. I actually didn't. Oh, no, I knew that.
But I don't know how you get away with it. Like, all of us are so prone to using royalty-free music that we get used to hearing songs that go, you like that one song that's out on the radio now? And they go, yeah. Are you going to make a highlight video to that? No, but here's the epidemic sound version of that.
All instrumental and like 4 octaves higher. You're like, that's not the same song, bro. That's something
It is
else.
not the same song. Let's go ahead and ask you, are you going to stick with Schultz on this one just because of the hair, or
I am.
Do you have Mahmoud?
Nope. Going Schultz. Looks strong. Looks powerful. Just to stand right off the bat. Wide stance.
Adam Miguel Smith says, love listening to both of you. Thanks. Adam Miguel Smith is also one of my longest timed friends here, Senor Frosto. He grew up with me way back in the mean streets of Hacienda Heights.
Those are mean streets. That's respect, Adam. Respect.
It's always great.
Many cheers to you, Adam, just for that. Just the mean streets. Right?
Absolutely.
I'm gonna throw it out there.
Anytime he came to visit and say what's up was a good time. That dude played really good. What do they call it? You can't say full basketball, but like, the 6-foot basketball, we dunked the fuck out of that.
Oh, yeah. That's the move.
That is the move. All right. We have a fight in front of us right now. Both gentlemen filling each other out. You've got Sanchez in the white, silverish gray trunks versus Muradov, who is in the black trunks.
Dude, I'm liking Schultz, or I'm liking Sanchez so far.
Okay. Very aggressive, and Muradov was very good in terms of blocking that takedown. Excellent work there. They're back on the feet. He is hitting a good cross here. Very nicely done, though.
He's feinting a lot. I like that he's coming in. Oh, took that shot, though. But he's feinting a lot, not just with the strikes, but like he had a couple feints of that takedown right at the beginning. But I'd like to see him keep going.
Absolutely. Very, very good stuff here. And I think the weird wear and tear of like that you can tell as the fight progresses is how clean are their shots after they absorb. So, it's one thing to absorb it and then still be okay, but it's always looking to see that sense of direction they have after they've taken a couple really good shots, and you go, yeah, your accuracy is starting to deplete a little bit here, bud.
Yeah, he's got some good counters. Oof.
What are you looking at? Is the screen up there now?
Yep.
So you were looking down here, but you're now looking up there?
Oh, looking down here is looking at you. I'm looking at us currently. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay.
But here, I realized it looked weird, so I was like kind of trying to do this and like.
I got you. So I look over to the side and it happens. Just as long as you're able to find it in a way that's comfortable to you, our audience knows, they understand, they appreciate it, and we appreciate you guys. If you give us a like and a share, we will give you a toast, just like we've given everybody. And I gotta tell you, Marina Rodriguez is gonna appreciate seeing hers when it gets translated to her in 2 years.
At least minimum.
That's always the thing to look out for here. Do you feel like, just quick little survey on the people that you've grappled with in your time, Frosto, how would you rank the overall impression you get from those who have a mullet in terms of their grappling ability on a scale from wow, that's good to oh my god, no.
It's actually funny that you say that because I would say there's one main one that sticks out. I'm forgetting his name. Terrible friend right now. But I met him years ago when I was in Orange County. He was already a black belt at the time. And I was still a purple belt, maybe a brown belt. But he mauled me, and he had a full mullet. Like, it made Sanchez's mullet look, half as impressive. But he was committed. His grappling was good. He was really, really good. I think he still lives out there. I think he was training at Rounders for a bit, as far as I remember. But yeah, haven't talked to that dude in a while.
That is always funny because I always think to myself, like over the years, the people who I've grappled with who have mullets, you have to live a certain lifestyle, and some of them tend to be like a Gary Tonin, where you go, yeah, their grappling's gonna be pretty okay. Like you can't just rock a mullet and have a shitty jiu-jitsu game.
But at least he did it right. He got a really good jiu-jitsu game first and then got the mullet.
That is true. Yeah. If we had known Gary as a mullet first as opposed to an actual grappler, things might have turned out differently for him.
You can't have a mullet and be a white belt. It's just not. No respect on the mat. No,
I think
respect.
That's a good rule of order that we should put for people. Hey, welcome to the gym. If you're a white belt, no mullets. Not at least till blue, maybe purple. It depends on how we feel.
Yeah, I have to know you better. Nice.
Did you see that flying knee attempt that's countered by a quick cat-like paw to the face?
That was clean.
That was really well done.
Nice shot.
It's a nice mix of things that we're seeing here thus far in. I'm looking at about 5 seconds left on my clock. Where are you about right now?
Exactly. 3,
Excellent.
2, 1.
Bam. And they give a nice high five to each other, and they go on over as John Anik plugs some fucking body armor. Good for him. All right. Let me ask you this.
The slight extra, what is it? Morodov? What's the name?
I'm just going to call him Murder Dog because I feel like that's
Murder Dog. I'm giving the edge to Murder Dog for the first round.
I would have to agree with you because at first we both were in agreement that Sanchez was looking good, but I think as the round progressed, Murder Dog was kind of pulling away with it a little bit more, in my opinion.
Yeah. He had the attempts, he had the shot. I mean, he got countered on that flying knee, but he was definitely outputting a lot more.
Absolutely. And that does seem to play a role. Speaking of fights, do you see the fact that there was apparently a fight at a Fight to Win yesterday?
I heard about it. I didn't see it. I was trying to find some footage on it. I saw Seth's post about it, but that was about it.
I mean, I can't take any of that as news. I just saw that he posted something really bitchy about it. Somebody sent it to me, and they go, "Are you keeping up with this?" I was like, "Do I ever keep up with Fight to Win? No, I don't know what's happening here." And they're like, "There's apparently a fight there." Not really. Oh shit! No, look at this. I was gonna ask you about this. I will wait until we get another break here, but remind me, there's something we have to circle back here to.
Circle back. Got it. On it. Oof.
Oh, wow. This is interesting to read. Yeah, okay. Now I have the full context for that. Coming back in, Sanchez starting to mix it up. Looks like he wants to try and press up against the cage, maybe get a takedown there. Does not get anything. Now you're seeing Sanchez trying to use the cage a little bit more to his advantage, and Murov is pulling himself back to the center. Nice footwork there. Gets a good kick on his part, though.
I feel like Sanchez is going to land one of those straight rights off of Murder Dog's kicks because he's not setting up his kick. He's just throwing it straight up. Yeah, and he's getting countered with a straight right. One of them's going to land. I got my boy
Bad
Sanchez.
News for Murder Dog. A kick to the nether regions is going to allow me some time to ask you, have you seen the fact that Dana White has made a new enemy?
Man, a new one. Hold on. In the past 24 hours or the past week?
Apparently. This is apparently a thing that Dana White has made enemies with Eminem, it appears.
What?
Yes. It started making the rounds 2 days ago.
Huh.
And it showed Eminem and White together on ESPN SportsCenter, apparently giving some kind of a joint interview. In the 9-second clip, this is what Eminem said to White. He said, "I think that people like you give people like me the feel that they need to succeed in the first place. I think that the best part about your opinion is that it doesn't matter. And if every fighter that you had listened to your opinion when you doubted them, you wouldn't have a fucking league." End quote, Eminem to Dana White.
So did anything prompt that, or was that just straight off the cuff, like, I'm coming at you right now because I don't like you?
Don't know, don't care, but I hope that Dana White fires back in a diss track and that the two of them continue it on. It's going to be worse than MGK. Is that his name? I don't even remember him anymore.
It is. I'm going to need a Dana White collab with Tyrone Woodley in the booth, dropping the hook. And, dude, they're going to sell millions to one person.
Absolutely. I just love the fact that Eminem waits to doing an interview with Dana and is like, you know who I should give a piece of my mind to? Fucking Dana White. Let's see how he takes this. So now I got to see that interview because I have no context for what it is.
Oh, I'm going to find that instantly, 100%. And it's funny, too. I was literally just talking about that because his new album came out not that long ago. It was maybe 2 weeks ago, something like that. Mm-hmm. But you already know the level of fan that I am.
It's true.
And it's literally me against every other person I know trying to convince, like, dude, come on, you got to listen to it. Come on, just give it a shot. You know. And I mean, name someone else that came out in the 90s that has been as consistent and is like every time he has a new hit song, it's like on something. It's in a movie, it's on UFC, it's in a video game. Like, it's just ongoing.
I just love the fact that even on a Fight Companion, you're still being here like, allow me to convince you, if you're not sold on Eminem, to spread the gospel of thy Slim Shady.
I'm spreading the gospel of that, of Modelo, of everything tonight.
That's very nice. I appreciate it.
We're sharing it across the board.
Of course we are. And speaking of sharing it, we are back to action right now. Murder Dog has been landing a pair of straight punches on the button, which has been very nice to see. However, this is interesting. I mean, that nice time when you saw Sanchez starting to promote a little bit more of an aggressive attack with a little bit more combinations. Ooh, he does stagger Murdoch here. He does catch him by surprise with a nice clean hook there. I would tell you this, though. That nice little break in the action did give, I believe, Murdoch a little bit of time to kind of chill, relax, and not have to worry about Sanchez for a few.
Now I'm wondering if Sanchez ever even intended on actually shooting. He had like a couple fakes in the first minute of the first round, and now nothing. No attempts, no feints. Ooh, takes a hard left.
Yeah, Murdoch. Ooh, nice to the body here. Look at this. Murdoch, if he can continue putting this together, he might be able to make up a little bit on the deficiency here.
If there was ever a game plan to shoot, like, it's now. I would shoot. If I'm Sanchez, I'm shooting hard. His leg is blackened right now.
Yeah, I know. That's an incredibly good point there. Woo! Murdoch has extension on those kicks, dude.
I think we should be the first to just call him Murder Dog, and that should be his nickname. Because
that's a very good point. I would like to point out how one of our pals over in Orange County, aka Dova Dog, was conveniently referred to as Matt because Wilson did not give me the names of the people. And when I couldn't tell who it was because they switched competitors, I asked Jevons, I said, who is that? I was like, well, let me ask. And he goes, oh, I'm pretty sure it's Matt. And I go, oh, okay. So until he made it to the finals, confident. I was referring to him as Matt. And sure as shit, pal of the show, Mike Wilson, I'm sorry, not Mike Wilson, but Mike John hits me up and goes, yo, dog, I can't believe you were referring to him as Matt that whole time. I was like, I don't want to talk about it. I'm really pissed. I'm really pissed. And they edited out part of what I gave Wilson shit on it, on the narrative, because I said, hey, listen, I am a professional broadcaster and I will admit my mistakes, and this is the first time I've ever had to correct on air like this, but I will tell you that my apology is to one Isaac Cordova. I apologize for Mike Wilson Jr. fucking up. Thank you very much. And somehow conveniently that was edited out of the telecast. So Very
was it
unfortunate,
accepted?
though.
Was the apology accepted, or did you guys have to roll it out?
Well, no, I actually went up to Dova Dog in between the semifinal and the final, and I just said, "Hey, heads up! When you see this, I am going to sound stupider than I look, and I know that is an accomplishment, but just know." And he laughed it off. He's like, "Oh, it's cool, Raph." He's like, "I'm a little hurt that it's me and that you know who I am." And I go, "Fair." But your fucking screen name is Dova Dog, so you should put your real name, and then maybe I'll know it. And he goes, "That's fair."
I would have just done that. I would just start calling him Dova Dog. Been like, hey,
Well,
I don't got a name, so Dova. I mean, we're calling this dude Murder Dog right now. So
that's what I'm saying.
his name's on the screen.
Murder Dog is somebody that we have improved upon.
Ooh.
Round number 3 right now, 4:45 on my clock. It is very interesting to see how this is coming together. And I want to say this, and I can't say it with certainty, but maybe Sanchez has lost a little bit of the mullet in the amount of time we have seen him in this octagon.
He took about 4 or 5 head kicks that shaved off 2 or 3 inches off that mullet, and it's scattered all over the octagon right now.
I mean, the instincts are still there, dude. So Sanchez is not exactly out of the game, but holy fuck, dude.
No. He's getting
Murder Dog
outpointed, though.
is definitely doing an excellent job of making life very difficult for him.
I would still like to see an attempt, just like a feint, something that says, I want to take it.
Well, I think the thing that you're also kind of alluding to here is in that first round, I think you, like I, saw something in terms of level changes that it's in his wheelhouse. He can do it. He demonstrated he can. It's just maybe he wasn't interested in doing it. And when things are going like this, maybe you might want to enact on your ability to do that.
Yeah. And I'm totally speaking off of that. Like, I'm not familiar with his game, if he even is,
Sure.
savvy on the ground or, a good wrestler. I'm just solely off that first initial setup I saw. It was good. I mean, it's a good way to mix it up. So.
And clearly, dude, I mean, look at these combinations that Murder Dog is putting together. Murder Dog has a very, very solid ability. He doesn't seem to commit too much to even when he's got a good combination here. He could be rushing in on this and finish it quite succinctly, but I like that he's spacing it out. He feels very, very solid for what he's putting out.
Dude, his body shots are nice.
Mm-hmm. He's cut a couple of those angles. It was a nice read by Sanchez. Does not connect, though. I think he's having a little bit of hard time planning on the foot now, too.
Yeah, I think if he can if Murder Dog can keep those hands going, I think he can finish with a head kick. He's already landed a couple. He hasn't thrown in a while.
I also want to point this out. There is a proper 12 promo in the bottom right-hand screen of this TV for the pay-per-view. And I want to say that it was disclosed that Conor McGregor is only going to make $5 million for the fight. But I do wonder if the additional purse maybe comes from promos like this.
100%. And he's on literally, I haven't seen him, or I haven't seen his brand not on.
Ooh.
Oh.
Wow.
Oh, Murder Dog bringing it in.
Oh, Murder Dog's going for this finish now, and he's got the finish. Holy shit. Dude,
that one was bad.
He hit him so hard that dude not only malfunctioned, but literally went into a computer overdrive. And Murder Dog is actually going over to talk to Dana. Look at this. Does he have fish sticks there, or does he have some mozzarella sticks? I can't really tell. Dana has some food that he's grubbing on.
Let's just
embrace
the crowd for a second, though. That's actually a good sized crowd. I saw.
It is, I believe.
Holloway's fight.
Mm-hmm.
Was the first one?
Yes, I believe it is capacity 18,000. I think they have allowed 2,000 fans into attendance.
Is it 2? So I know Max's was 2. Max, they said they had 2. I saw one interview, so they could have quoted it wrong, that they were going to allow 6,000 for this one.
Maybe. Oh God, dude. Look at this replay. Look at what happens on him just trying to stay standing. Like,
oh, that was hard.
Oh my God, dude.
That's
of this.
A good stoppage.
That is impressive. And Herzog is 100% on the money in terms of giving us a stoppage here. And the crowd goes crazy, including his corner. Excellent work. And he's still talking to Dana. That's a good time,
What weight is this again? Is this 85 or 70?
I thought it was 85. Let's double check that to
Or is
make
it
sure.
205? I don't think
I
they're that.
see it as a middleweight bout.
Mm-hmm.
So 85.
He's already calling out for Adesanya. He's like, I'm ready. Let's go.
Oh my God. I mean,
Probably not. Settle down, Murder
no,
Dog,
but for what it is tonight, dude, Sanchez is still fucked up, man.
Yeah.
Ugh.
That's rough.
That is a rough one, man. But hey, listen, dude, that could have been a very, very short affair, and Sanchez did make it to a third round, so I will give him that.
Yeah.
And listen, I know I may have made mention of it a little bit earlier, but it's that kind of series of punches that you absorb where maybe it doesn't lead to a knockout within that first second, but it starts to build up, and then that's when you get those wobble legs. Like, I don't know if you've ever seen the movie, what is it, Best in Show, but when Catherine O'Hara does the little wobble walk when she's trying to show what's wrong with her leg, it reminded me of that. Anik is on the call right now with Murder Dog. Let's see what he has to say. There is a translator handy. I want to ask you about Dana. Oh, he's talking about he's pissed that he's gotten so many short notice fights. Maybe 2-3 months on the next one would be nice, he says.
Huh.
He says it's a big division for young guys. And something about his country, and he's happy. Good for him.
Yep. That's crazy to take how many? Like 3 fights on short notice?
Yeah.
I'm assuming he won them all.
Well, we can give you unfortunately, it does not have a hyperlink on this Wikipedia page, but we can give you that update in just a second as Anik talks to the translator as if to say, what the fuck are you even doing here, dude?
Your internet just went full Amanda Ribas and just...
Oh, no. Am I okay now? Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, good. That was me. I was imitating Amanda Ribas.
Oh, okay. Unfortunately, Tapology is also down right now. Its page is not on.
Man.
Yes, last 3 fights were wins. In fact, a lot more than 3, Frosto. What looks like about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 fights. And one of those fight wins comes from Elisa DiCiccio, who just won recently in his own fashion, and one Trevor Smith, who I believe fights out here locally, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, Trevor Hot Sauce Smith actually fights out of Washington. So
Hot Sauce Smith.
However, his record, not so great. So there is that.
Well, speaking of hot sauce, I am probably going to purchase Dustin's hot sauce because
Oh, yeah?
since it's come up, like everyone's been talking about it all week through different interviews and like different things. Everyone says it's really good. I'm curious now.
When you say everybody, are you talking about the UFC people on the payroll saying it's really good?
On the payroll, but through their own private channels, like through Anakin Florian or through Ariel's or through Chales or through whoever.
Yeah,
It's
I
all
don't
their
believe
own.
any of those people. The only person with authority who I said, oh, he gave a nod of approval was one Sean Evans. So Sean Evans gave it, and he said, hey, this is a straight banger. And I got to tell you something, man. I recently got the first packet of the Heatonist sauces.
Ah.
And part of me was hoping that it would be included in there, being that it's a UFC month. So it is a very strange thing when you do see, what is it, the Heatonist box come in, and I go, come on, Dustin. Come on, Dustin. And it was 3 other very good sauces, so I have no problem with that.
Yeah.
But I am also a novice at this shit. I am not like you. I do not have a high palate for heavy heat, but I'm learning. I am taking my baby steps forward.
I wouldn't call it a high palette for it, but I would say that it's just I like the pain, as odd as that is. It's, you know what I mean? There's certain ones. Okay, there are certain things that it could ruin the entire thing for me. But there's other ones where I'm like, you'll see my eyes watering. You'll see tears. You'll see snot. You'll see all that good stuff. but if the flavor is good enough, I'm
Sure.
in. I'm all in.
I
So that's fine.
know that you can handle, I think, solid heat when it comes to chicken sandwiches, so I do have to give you that. And I think that is a good starting point. I do not equate it to being the same as hot sauces, but I'll tell you this much. I was feeling pretty good where I had these like 5 out of 10 on the heat sauces, and I was like, this isn't too bad. I'm doing fine. And I resolved not to take one of my hot sauces to work, and I was right not to, because I had a little bit of that a little bit later that night, and I go, no one should see me eat this. This is not something that people should have full access to being able to take photos of me with, and I am glad that I did this solo.
This is a new thing.
Okay.
That's chicken. There's also a nachos belt around it.
Excellent. Thank you very much, producer wife Kelly, coming in with the assist over here, bringing me Taco Bell.
Oh, I need an assist. I'm
producer
running low
wife
on Modelo.
Kelly did not bring you any Taco Bell. I am sorry.
I just needed Modelo. That's fine. Official beer of UFC.
That's fine. Of course, this is brought to you by Modelo, the official beer of the UFC. That's a cute dog, by the way. Good for that. All right. So the UFC is promoting football. So Super Bowl is happening. There you go.
Is it the UFC that's promoting it, or is it ESPN? It's like, yo, we got to throw this in. Sorry, guys. Like, it's in your contract.
Well,
I got to put at least one
weirdest, That's the weirdest part, because Disney does not have the rights to football. They very famously signed it away years ago, so it always rotates between CBS, NBC, and Fox.
That's okay. That's fair.
So those are the different places. It will only be a matter of time before they probably put it on some streaming channel in the future, but let's just enjoy what we've got. Just to let you know how the disruption of votes are going right now, people who are voting have this fight. Well, let me ask you, who do you have? Do you have Jessica Ai or Joanne Calderwood on this fight?
I got Calderwood.
Okay, you would be amongst the 71% of responders who feel the same way on the Verbal Tap poll.
I think people just like her accent, and that's what they're going on.
She's very sweet sounding. It's hard not to like her, because every time she talks, it always sounds like, oh, she's a killer. That's right. No, she does murder people.
Yeah.
That's right.
Like, oh, I forgot. Yeah.
To give you a little bit of an idea of how people were voting earlier, there was a 75% who believed that Rebus was going to win. Then, before
I did have Rebus for that one.
There was a 62% for against Frivola. There was 51% who believed Tavares was going to win over Carlos Jr. And Pena had a 56% on the win side on our scale, even though she came up with it just in the nick of time.
So far, so good. Decently.
So some hit and misses will be very interesting to see how we acclimate that. This is my best friend in the world, one Bobby V, that says I like her accent too.
Yeah, right. Can't really argue with that. I mean, and just in her interview, so soft spoken, and then you watch her highlights. You're like, wait, is that your sister? Is that Oh no, that's you.
Huh. Very sweet, very nice.
Yeah.
But we'll see how she puts it up with this. Brett Okamoto is getting better with his hand gestures. I will give him that, because sometimes they're a little wild. Where I don't know if you ever watch this, but you're a guy behind a camera, but as somebody who will occasionally do this front stuff, watch when people over gesture every syllable, because it almost becomes distracting to watch. And that's why whenever I see them pan the camera away, I go, move it off him. He's going to gesture you to death.
But I do realize that without it looks silly too. Like, that almost looks weirder if there's nothing happening. Because I have seen that where I'm like, it's just completely still. And yeah, there's that fine middle ground.
You have to pick your things that you're going to gesture with, because if you gesture all the time, it takes away from the words. But if you pick the actual moment that you want to emphasize something, people will take that away. So it is a very subtle trick. And what happens is they end up holding a microphone and going, it's like I'm talking to you at home. And I go, that's very strange. Please don't Please don't gesture.
Take that, Brett Okamoto. Learn your shit.
Hey, but you know what though? Good for him. If they offer him a job and they say get in a suit, everybody should do that. So good on him.
True. Throw as
And
many
all
hand
things-
gestures as you want.
All things considered, though, I would say he is one of the few people that I've seen make a good transition as both not a full reporter anymore, but as somebody who, when they do update you from the journalistic side, even though they're employed by the UFC, it still has a degree of, oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. He's writing it like a reporter would break this news. So good for him.
And pretty quick too. Like I feel like it didn't take him, the many years that you see some of the journalists like taking before they actually get that call or they're actually, on a live event. I feel like it took him 3 years, maybe 2 years. I don't know, maybe more.
I mean, he'll probably tell you
been doing it.
He'll probably tell you differently, but sure, yes.
Yeah. Well, I guess from when it became noticed, I'm like, oh, he's covering the UFC.
Yep.
Start to gain a little traction, and then 2 years later, he's on an event. Whereas Ariel, I mean, you can go way back, and he was covering Strikeforce.
Yeah, Ariel's at the beginning of time, and I have to say this, which is a friend of our show who is New York Rick. He came on recently, and we don't get the chance to always chat, but he's a very, very good friend of the show. And when we were talking with him, I had to lay into him a little bit, and I said, "Can I vent to you real quick about Ariel?" And he's like, "I would prefer that you don't." And I said, "I don't care. Here's my issue. Ariel can't say all the time, it's always been a dream of mine to do NBA reporting." And I'm like, no. Then go do that. Stop taking all the space here. And Rick's just like, are you mad that he's taking up space for other reporters? And I was like, yes, go do the NBA then, if you love it so much. If you have a dream, go away. And he goes, why can't he have both dreams? I have only since discovered that the person who overlooks all things UFC, combat sports, also overlooks the NBA. And I felt like that got disrespectful from my co-host Kevin Phillips because that's his dream job. And I said, Kevin, why are you not in charge of combat sports at NBA? And Kevin's response to me was, that is a sexy ass title. I need to get that job.
I mean, he still kind of just does it on his own, though. It's not I mean, what did he do some already? Like an official NBA? He did 1 or 2, right?
No, he's like become a regular fixture there. Where on Christmas, because
I watch basketball.
Canadians, he showed up there because they go like, no upstanding journalist is going to be around.
Yeah.
Oh, get the Canadian guy because they have that weird one. Yeah, bring him in.
Yeah. Huh.
So
well. I mean, he's the only one, so there's still a little bit of room. He's going to need a break, and he's going to need someone to fill in those alternate days. With as many games as there are in a season, there needs to be some alternating happening.
But I did tell, I think it was New York Rick, I did tell him one joke that I did appreciate. And I go, you know what that sounds like? And he goes, what? I go, it's like the scene from Scary Movie that Simon Rex is being prompted by one Charlie Sheen. And he goes, I have a dream. And he goes, what's that? To have a dream. And I go, see, that's how stupid it sounds when I hear him say that bullshit. Let's talk about Bruce Buffer's coat today. Where are you on the Bruce Buffer coat? Because it is a very light purpley. Or,
I gotta catch
as producer wife Kelly says, major thumbs up. An emphatic thumbs up, one might say.
I gotta see it again. Hold on. I'll wait for the transition. I've seen it, but I haven't like fully paid attention to the details to be like, I feel like all of his suits throughout every single event are so emphatic and just so many details. Like he needs more screen time. If you're gonna be rocking those suits, I need to just gaze upon it for a bit and be like, okay, Bruce. I mean, they do it for the intro, but I could use a little bit right now. Just
when he came to the Tonight Show and he wasn't in full UFC garb. Because he was just coming to watch the show, I almost wanted to tell him, do not come meet me like this. Go back into a dressing room, put on a real suit, because I can't see you in civilian clothing.
Yeah, no. It's weird. It's definitely weird. Even on the embeds, when he was on the flight heading over and he's talking to Dustin, like, it definitely doesn't look good on him. He needs to be in a suit all the time. feel like he should just like when he gets ready for bed, like those are his pajamas. It's just a suit.
But also, how was he so jacked? Like, how was he so cut?
Yeah,
Foster.
that too. Right? How old is he? Like 60?
He's old. He's old enough.
Yeah. Oof.
All right, walk me through what you're seeing on your side, sir.
So I'm at 444 right now. Dude, Joanna's just throwing. She went for a little half-hearted takedown there, but she actually got that leg pretty easily. It didn't look like she was actually trying to finish. It looked like she was just trying to, mix it up and kind of show that it was there. I feel like if she really wanted to, she could probably finish that pretty easily. Huh.
Yeah, I mean, obviously pushing her up against the cage right now, I think she's just trying to get in some great time in terms of making her life miserable.
Yeah. I think she'll be fine. Yeah, there you go. She's starting to move along. Beautiful. She's throwing a lot of kicks, but I want to see some setup with the hands.
I do like the inside body work here. That was a nice uppercut.
Yeah. I do like that whenever I does get close, she just stays in the clinch and just starts throwing. She just stays there. I'll just keep hauling.
It's going to be one of these kind of fights here, Foster. You get the sense of, all right, she's going to 100% keep her up against that cage as much as she can.
Yeah, but she's not going for any takedowns, so she backed out. She wasn't even firing off too many shots either. Ooh, nice leg kick.
I'm not sure if you saw, but she's utilizing a little bit of those elbows, and I think on the second time, I was able to make the adjustments, kind of stay out of there, and start pressing her right back up against the cage.
Yeah. And same thing, just kind of pushing, not really trying to hook the leg, not really throwing strikes, just kind of holding. So I think that's probably the game plan for her, just to kind of stay up against the fence, just to show some control and then back out as she did and kind of throw her shots, center back up, and then occasionally bring it back to the fence again, just to show that control and dominance.
Good clinch here, though. Good idea. Nice attempt at a trip here.
Mm-hmm.
Oof. Nice.
Yeah, Calderwood's output in the clinch is nice.
Mm-hmm.
She's got knees, elbows.
Mm-hmm. Almost where she feels more comfortable, one might say. Look at this.
Yep, straight to the knee again.
Did you try it yet?
I haven't tried it yet.
Right.
Give it a try? All right. What is this?
It's a new chicken cheesy roll up thing.
It's a new
spicy
chicken cheesy roll up, but it's spicy. Right?
We just learned Raph don't like spicy.
Oh, no. I can do spice. It's fine. I just don't know.
Oh, no,
And
that's why I only had 2 bites.
no, that's what I'm saying. I was like, producer wife Kelly has 0 tolerance.
I know
So
my
when
limit.
she says it's
But-
spicy, that means it's nothing.
Right.
But if you had Dustin Poirier's hot sauce to throw on it, it would probably be the next level chicken cheese roll up.
It literally has no spice to it. But
You need
very
Poirier.
appreciative. You do need Poirier.
You need the hot sauce.
That sucks when I see that he has like a charity because we can't ever get him as a sponsor. He'll be like, do you want to donate to us? And I'll be like, nah, not really. Thank you.
Sorry.
But it is incredible that this whole fight came together out of a want to give back to charity. That is a pretty cool thing, all things considered.
So with that in mind, just now that we're seeing the nicer side of Conor, do you think he will acquire some of the fans he lost back?
Yes, because fans are dumb.
I mean, as always, but I'm just wondering if will they come back right away just off of this fight? Now, depending on how the fight goes and depending on how he ends with his post fight, I think he'll get a few back. Or do you think it's going to take some time? Because I know people that just outright hate him no matter what. They don't care. They're like, yeah, no, he's Conor. Especially with his interview of saying that Khabib's afraid of him and running, and even I looked at that, I was like, all right, bro, let's take it easy. You got choked. That's fine.
So that's dumb, right? We all agree. That's pretty dumb.
Yeah.
He
Walk
did
it
take Khabib to a 4th round, which all these other jokers did not do. So on paper, it does make sense that, yeah, sure, he's got some room to say, I have one of the better showings. But the rest of us, who are of the civilian world, no, dude, we all saw that pay-per-view. We all saw you get choked out. You have nothing that you can possibly say. What's that? There was a brawl, so you never actually crowned him champion, so I'm still champ? Genius. Genius at work. So,
I
to
did love
everybody
that.
else who has something to say about that, I say, maybe you're not wrong, but you're not going to not watch this fight. Like, you're not going to skip a Conor McGregor fight just because you don't like him. It might actually make you watch it a little bit more. We had people in here a little bit earlier who were saying to us, and I'll go ahead and bring this back in. This is before you got here. It said, I'm a Khabib fan, and I will never go with Conor. Now, I get that, but I think that what we were saying a little bit earlier to that fan is, even Khabib's dad was like, yeah, I invited him over to the house. Like, everybody understands it's part of the promotion. It also elevated to a Khabib status of him being a worldwide superstar in a way that he wouldn't have had without Conor. So it's like Joker and Batman. Their fates are forever intertwined. And if Conor does an impressive performance here tonight, it is hard to argue that he doesn't deserve another shot at that title. I think Dana might want to milk it out, because obviously watching somebody go back and fight for a title is a good storyline. But people just forget the fact that, yeah, Conor McGregor is maybe the best in the division, except for, the guy who runs it.
And I think it's super fair to say Khabib was already very well known. Everyone knew who he was, especially just continuing his undefeated streak. But that night he fought Conor and beat him. Dude, that took it 2 levels above. Like, the people that were Conor fans, I think some of them jumped over. I mean, I can be a fan of both. I like them both. I don't dislike either one of them. They're both good. You know what I mean? I respect what they do and how they do it. So, but he definitely gained a lot of traction above and beyond, I think, what most expected in that Conor fight.
There would be no Khabib with pull if he didn't fight Conor. It's just that simple. He wouldn't have the ability to keep Dana on this. Will he come back? We'll have to see. There'd be none of that.
Yeah, exactly.
He would have been like, Dana would have been like, you retired? Good. Fuck yourself. Leave me the title. Like, that's how that conversation would have gone. But now, there's a little bit of a draw. There's a little bit of a anticipation. And to me, that's where it gets into, that's promoter speak. We're not even talking about how good he is anymore. We're talking about the fact of, man, I just wish Khabib would come back. And I go, I have no illusions. I know where he stands. We're good.
It might have happened eventually. It might have taken longer, just given what Gaethje did to Ferguson and then what he did to Gaethje. He might have got it at that point, but it still would have taken a lot longer. Like, if he would have just gone straight to Dustin after the Iaquinta fight, like, it would have been like, all right, cool. I don't know. It would have been.
But that overlooks the idea that there are some people who are good fighters who may not be pay-per-view draws, who still have amazing records, Jose Aldo, that don't necessarily do good business, but who may be amazing at what they do. And I think that Khabib was heading down that trajectory without Conor.
Yeah.
And I think that that's the issue that people kind of can't wrap their heads around, because they just say, well, because he is the best, he should be famous. And that clearly doesn't happen. So I would say this. It'd be nice if he comes back, if for the mere fact that Khabib is still not even fully out of his prime as an athlete. It just seems silly that we would say, yeah, go ahead and clean up. You don't need to stay here anymore. To me, I think, yeah, dude, if you want to fight, you are more than welcome to, but maybe you just don't like fighting in a certain way anymore because you don't like what it takes out of you. And that is a respectable way to say, you don't have to do it. You don't.
Yeah.
You don't owe anything to us.
Especially watching this. Jessica I's having a lot taken out of her. Calderwood's putting it on her right now. Jessica I looks super tired. She actually took, it was subtle. I feel like it hurt though. She took a front kick to her knee that hyperextended pretty bad, but she's moving like it's fine. But that head kick barely missed. Man, so, Calderwood's pulling away here.
Looking at this though, you're seeing Jessica I just. The face is getting so much more marked up considerably. Yeah. You were mentioning this a little bit earlier in terms of Calderwood maybe taking a little time getting into it, now starting to be very dominant. What does Jessica I need to do to maybe even the score out? Like, what have you seen from her doing thus far in that would maybe put her at a little bit more of an equal stance?
That first round, I mean, put her against the fence. I mean, she's out of position right now. They call what do they call it? They that little mini octagon that outlines the inside. They say once you get past that, it's a danger zone because that's when you can get pressed against the fence. Dude, right now, Calderwood's standing on it, and she, kept her there for a bit. Calderwood worked her way out, but I mean, it took her a little while. If you can get her to that position and keep her there for the remaining 50 seconds, I mean, earn some points that way. But to just stand in the middle, I don't know about all that.
Insane.
Calderwood.
And now we're going to see something, I think, that'll change a little bit of the trajectory of the last 30 seconds as we do get a takedown here. And this is a little bit closer. And not only a takedown, but an immediate vet move in making sure she drags her over to the edge of where the cage is.
But now she has to do something. I mean, she got her down. We got 20 seconds. You're not going to do much. I mean, if you don't score points, you're still going to lose this round. So, yeah. I mean, it looks good, but it's not going to win you the round for the last 20, 30 seconds.
So are you seeing this as 2 rounds Calderwood, or do you have it split?
It could be split. I think it's 2 rounds Calderwood because in that first round, like I said, I pressed her up and held her, but I mean, she didn't cause damage. She landed a few strikes in the first couple minutes of it. But I mean, I feel like it was fairly even on the striking. If you wanted to rule cage control on that, probably give it to I, but it's going to be dependent on how the judges look at it. But I have it 2-0 Calderwood going into the third. So I needs to finish, in my opinion, or have a super strong round and hope that someone gave her that first.
Since we have a minute.
We got a minute.
Where were you in terms of last week? Would you have had your crew throw in the towel for Cater during that Max Holloway fight?
Man, I don't know. Probably not. That's the weird part, right? Like, who do you put it more on? I feel like the corner obviously knows their fighter, but also, I mean, I'm sure they've had those talks before. Like at some point, if you're that close with your corner, you should have had those talks of like, all right, if I ever have a fight where it gets here, if it's looking like this, do this. If it's looking like that, do this. And you kind of keep that in the back of your head. But as far as Herb Dean being in that position, man, I feel like there was a couple points in there. Like when they were talking about that 4th round, I think for sure that could have been stopped. He did throw back, but he took like at least 15 unanswered. At that point, he was already bleeding everywhere. I mean, I think at that point he was just swinging back on instinct to not get it stopped, but not to actually, cognitively fight back, in my opinion. I could be wrong. So I don't think I would have thrown in the towel necessarily, but I think as a ref standpoint, it could have been stopped and nobody would have been mad.
I was famously on the show and saying, I think I could stop this here. And then 5th round, seeing Cater actually look better after about a minute's worth of rest, and then saying, fuck, would you have not seen that? Even though statistically there is no way without a knockout that this man is going to win. And yet, when they read a 50-42 scorecard, all I could think of is, that's going to raise some questions for people in the future when they go, I don't see many of these. Can you explain yourself? Different time, man. It was a weird time.
Yeah.
How do you want to stop that?
Yeah, I don't know. That was a tough one because that's the only way you don't stop it is if you think he's going to win. And how do you think he's going to win at that point going into round 5? Like, you have to finish him, which at that point he'd already taken Cater's best shots, when he was at full power essentially. And now he's a little bit drained, but even, I don't know what it was. It might've been one of these, episodes kind of leading up into this UFC. It wasn't an embedded, it was something else. There was like an extra clip that they did behind the scenes, and they were showing Dana watching that fight. And in the 4th round, he gets up as they're going into the 5th, and same thing. He's saying they could stop it right now. They got to stop it. They don't stop it. While they're in the middle of the break, he walks over to Hunter and is talking to him. He's like, yo, he should have stopped that fight. Like, as soon as this fight's done, get him to a hospital. Like, get him out of there. No talking, no interviewing, nothing. Get him out. And he's like running over to everybody and saying this. And of course, they interview him and talk to him for a bit. But Dana obviously wasn't happy with it. Oof. Yeah,
Calderwood. Dana in that post presser was not very pleased. But let's go back to this. I do want to bring up something. If we're talking about adjustments that were made between the second and third round for this particular fight that we're watching right now, is I do have to give it to Jessica's corner that basically told him the advice that I think you were echoing, which is, yo, you need to get her on that fence ASAP. Yeah. And she was utilizing it, but now you get Calderwood back in where she looks way, way better in the center of that octagon, creating a sense of havoc that is really, really not fun to deal with.
Yeah, she's owning that center really, really well. Oof. I mean, now at this point, Jessica's landing nothing. Like, now she's just waiting to counter with a shot, but beautiful sprawl. And she's going to take some shots.
Down to the last minute 15 here. I'm sorry, what were you saying, sir?
Who was Calderwood's last fight?
Let us find out that information for you. We'll remind you guys, if you give us a like and a share on Facebook, we will give you a toast on air. And you were asking who Joanne Calderwood's last fight was, correct?
Yes.
And that was Andrea Lee. That was back at UFC 242. Pre-pandemic, back in the early and easier days. Nope, just kidding. It was Jennifer Maia. That was back in August 2020.
That's right. Okay.
So those were the last two fights. My apologies on that inaccurate information right up top. But yes, as I was saying, give us a like and a share on Facebook. We will give you a toast on air, just like we do those finishes that are in the UFC. I also want to say shout out to Leary. Or is it Larry? It's Lery, Leary. Let's just say that. You are one share away from getting a toast on air. I see that you gave us a nice like. Appreciate that.
Actually pronounced Leray. Ooh.
I mean, I don't pretend to always know how people are going to pronounce their names. Some people have very different ones. So, ooh. No, just kidding. I take that back. Leray gave us a mad face on the Facebook. So, no props for you. I don't like the mad face.
I probably said it wrong.
I don't think that was it. I'm pretty sure the Leray gives us the frowny face because we're not illegally streaming the fight.
Oh, we paid? Yeah. I mean, if you got the dollar bills, make it rain, you know what I'm saying?
That's the hard part. I still have to figure out how to make sure that this GIF goes on this telecast, but anytime we have people who are mad that we're not illegally streaming the fights, we have to put up the Kristen Wiig bridesmaids, help me, I'm poor.
This is my contribution to the Good Fight Foundation, actually, and
absolutely. That's how I'm going to tell my tax man next year. I actually donated to the Good Fight Foundation.
This is a write-off, 100%. Yeah, for sure. This is a write-off. Easy.
Yeah. So let me go ahead and give this a share over on the Facebook. As to remind everybody, are you talking about the looks on the faces?
No, I'm talking about Bruce's suit. Now that I can see it.
Okay, what are your thoughts on the suit now?
I mean, I've seen better from him.
You've seen better. Okay.
Not my favorite. It's nice.
It's nice, but still you think it could be better. I understand those notes. Yeah. It makes me feel like he stole it from somebody who's in a Prince tribute band.
There you go. Yeah.
Look at this. John Anik right on top of it. Although I don't like Anik's dark on dark vibe.
No. Yeah,
that never sits well with me.
Could do. Yeah, he's got to get on Bruce's level. See, he should have Bruce's current one. Bruce should go back to one of his others.
That's a very, very good thing to put there. Anik is telling her you're going to enjoy watching this one back. And was this the type of fight you were expecting? And she's giving out happy birthday shout outs to her manager. It's very hard to dislike her. She is pretty great.
Yeah. Yeah, 100%.
And they're talking about Valentina Shevchenko and a fight opportunity going out of her way for a championship.
Oof.
And she's saying, whatever it takes, essentially. John Anik shakes her hand. No social distancing there.
No. I mean, she had the mask on just improperly,
I just like the fact that Anik is at this point just so happy to be interviewing people in a cage again. So good for him.
Yeah.
All right. We need to transition to talking about this because we are now rounding to the co-main event. Frosto, there's been so much made of the actual main event, but this is the UFC debut of Mike Chandler. Are you excited by that?
I am excited. I think it'll be a good fight, especially after that last fight Hooker had with it was Poirier, right? Or did he fight someone after that? I think it was just Poirier. Man, I went back and watched Chandler's last 5 fights, and I can't say I favor him in this one. I don't think it'll be as bad. But I mean, from his last fight, unless he's had some drastic improvements, Hooker's takedown defense is really good. Chandler's wrestling is solid, but it's not outstanding. It's not something to be feared, at least from what I saw in those fights. And yeah, Hooker's striking is just, on point. I think it's going to be rough for Chandler, to be honest. But either way, I'm excited because I still like to see that crossover. I always like to see that, how they do at that level. And just as he said,
So it seems like you are leaning Hooker on this one.
Yeah, I'm going Hooker. Not leaning. I'm on it. I'm on Hooker's side all day.
Listen, phraseology of saying you're on Hooker's side is not something you want to have replayed out of context.
Double meaning. No.
Okay. Fair enough.
Who knows?
Shout out to David. Thank you very much for the like. Give us a like and a share. We'll give you a toast. That's as easy as it is. We try to make sure we give you guys the love that you deserve. And if we have missed you, please tell me in the comment section. I do try to keep an eye out for it. But some of you guys have privacy settings that I don't necessarily get to see who does share. We do have to do a second one here. Oh, look at this.
What do we got?
I love that. Enjoy. I might not watch it. Somebody basically was watching a little bit ago. Saw somebody, childhood friend, giving a nice little shout out there. All right, this one is going to go out to our friend Adam Woods. Adam Woods also gave us a share on the Twitter a little bit earlier, but he just gave us one over on the Facebook. Adam Woods, we appreciate you. I would rather see you in there. You have a lime in there?
2 limes.
Wow. What kind of fancy ass shit are you holding up there, man?
I gotta re-up, so I'm gonna pass this to you, ref.
All right, that's fine. Woods, he ruined the opportunity to say something nice about you, so now we're just cheersing, and he's gonna go get some more beer.
I still love you, Woods. I'm sorry.
All right, Froster will be right back in a second. I'll go ahead and give you guys some time to cover. Yes, we're coming up on the co-main event right now. A very exciting time to see Michael Chandler returning to fighting, this time though in the UFC Octagon for the very first time. It's interesting to see how his progression has gone. He has been somebody who is a backup plan in case something was going to happen with the Khabib Nurmagomedov fight a little bit earlier in Fight Island, but turns out they didn't need him, so they just wasted an opportunity to have him fight on that time. A lot of people were talking about, could it be him and Ferguson? Could it be him and somebody else? And when they finally found him a dance partner, even though people seemed overwhelmingly disappointed that they were not able to see him fight earlier, they said, oh, yeah, okay, I like him and Hooker. Him and Hooker is actually a really good fight because we've seen the wars that Hooker has been through, and we see just the possibility of extreme violence between these two. So I'm excited for this fight. I hope that you guys are as well. As we'll remind you guys, like and a share, that'll get you a toast on air, just like the fighters who get finishes. And if you aren't doing it already, follow us at any of these Grappling Hour properties. You're going to see some new interviews coming up very, very soon. We have already booked a couple. I won't reveal names, except maybe one. Shane Shapiro. Very excited to have him rejoin the broadcast very soon. And yes, we are finally going to get an interview with Brianna St. Marie, who won the Combat Jiu-Jitsu event that happened at the end of last year. We had to figure out a time for scheduling. I'm very excited to talk with her because I think that she had some of the best matches, I think, of 2020. Kevin was pretty adamant about saying that she was a grappler of the year. And it says, Raph, you would rather see me in Frost's bottle rather than the limes. Listen, I don't even know what that means, but okay, sure. What I would tell you is, I just didn't expect Froster to actually have limes in his Modelo. Like, he's already drinking Modelo, which is a good way of appeasing the UFC, which I don't think watches this, except maybe to make sure that we're not pirating it, and we're not. So, I don't know. It threw me for a little bit of a loop that Frosto was trying to make some side money on that side. What I will tell you, though, is Conor McGregor has already made his appearance here, and yes, he is in a very stylish suit. You can tell it is stylish because his handkerchief is right on the money. And there goes his wife, who is the Preggers again. Yes, she is. So, this will be interesting to see how Conor McGregor returns. It's been a year off for him, and it only makes sense that they would put him back in an audience setting because he does tend to be a very good draw for the UFC. Putting him on during the unairable times of no audiences seemed like a very bad plan. So let's go ahead and give this next toast on out. Megan, thank you very much for the share. We appreciate you. This cheers goes on out to you. We appreciate you doing it. We also know that you were responsible for Conor McGregor being a nice guy now. Who knew? He's nice. I'm pretty sure that PR work has gone into making him the lovable and cuttable Conor McGregor, as opposed to the one that throws dollies at buses. So cheers to you. It's working. It's very strange, though, to see Conor McGregor buddy with Dustin Poirier. It's been a while since we've seen somebody pull this side of him, even though him and Cowboy was nice. Definitely not that one. I have a question here from Bobby. Bobby says, who do you have winning? It's a good question. I told people I'd like to see Chandler win this one. I might be alone on it. Hooker is a really tough draw for him, so I don't know that I'll be correct. I will be 100% clear on that one. But yes, it does look like we have a Frosto that is returned. Nope, just kidding. He walked out of frame. Never mind. I got a quotation here that says, Dustin's t-shirt looked like it got a Color Me Mine project that got bleached. Yeah, that works. Yeah, I fuck with that joke. That's good. All right, Frosto has returned. How are you, sir? Did you get some food?
I got another beer. That's food.
Okay.
It's the same food. Yes. Same beer, Modelo. But this time, no lime. I'm feeling edgy.
Oh.
You know? It's going to take flavor for what it is and enjoy.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I did not expect. I mean, I know that you are cultured in the sense of making your beers situated, but I just didn't expect the limes to be in the Modelo. In fact, I didn't spot them the first time in the Modelo.
Yeah, that's the trick. I always made it so that the label faced you to cover the limes as well as promote. You know,
for an end reveal. What a diabolical bastard you are.
That's how I roll.
So that was me responding, Bobby, to your question. I would say, Bobby, if you are not familiar with Dan Hooker, there are some fights I would love to show you of his where, I mean, they're showing you some of these highlights here, which are give you a little bit of the fun that he can give in some fights like this. I think the one hint you might want to know is they tend to be very bloody affairs. They tend to be very aggressive, so that is why the UFC saying, let's see how you do against Mike Chandler, is their way of saying, we'd really like you to take care of this Chandler kid so we can say how much better than Bellator we are.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of people were saying this is not a good matchup for Chandler for his first fight. I agree with that. But also, they gave Ben Askren Lawler to, like, welcome him. So, you know, they don't really welcome anybody kindly.
I mean, yes, but there is a little bit of them saying, listen, dude, you were in the other organization, and we like to really show people that we're the best one. And it does appear, I think they took down this retweet, but yes, MMA Junkie is reporting pay-per-view buyers express frustration as widespread ESPN Plus issues surface. To be fully honest, when I pressed purchase for this pay-per-view, it did at the very beginning of it, before I signed on here and started this version of the telecast, it did say, oh, we're having a problem identifying your account. And I thought, okay, well, what's the issue? And I press it again. It says, we're having a problem identifying your account. And then I back out of it, and it looked and it said that I had purchased it. And I said, oh, well, I'm okay. I hope that's not happening to anybody else. It appears there is a lot of people who are very angry about that. So what I would say to you is, Dana, the people will stream it illegally less if you have your shit together. Just saying.
Yeah, how about these graphics, though, that they're adding onto this? So basically, I need to step up my combat jiu-jitsu game, and I need to figure out how to do some of these animations.
I got some bad news for you. You are 2,000 late to this one because the WWE has been doing this for years, and it definitely accentuates it in a very nice way. The only thing I don't love is the 4D animation they do for the actual fighters when they get that fight card that turns towards you, because it always looks like it's not rendered.
Well, okay, so that's what I was going to say. I know the WWE does it, but do they have the camera jib pushing through them? That I haven't seen.
Yeah.
Or am I still 20 years behind on that?
You're definitely 2,000 late. But here's the good news. I'm glad the UFC is upping their production value, and there is an interesting thing I think I saw recently, and oh man, I'll have to see if I can find that article.
So really, they're 20 years late because they're just doing it.
I mean, you also just outed yourself as being 2,000 late, but it's okay.
But as long as I'm there with them, you know, we're good.
That's perfectly fine. Yeah, no, that's okay. It's a good group of people to put yourself in. And by the way, the amount of work and the shit that you guys pull up at Combat Jiu-Jitsu sometimes is like, all things considered, budget to budget, it's not a bad performance from you guys. What I would say is this. I think the WWE recently had an article that came out that said they're actually using for walkouts for the athletes a camera that's only $10,000. And I like the fact that they basically have a steady camera that walks out, and they're basically doing this blur out of the background as the fighter is walking out with them on live television, and it looks pretty good. So I like the fact, because I didn't know how expensive the camera was. I don't look that sort of stuff up unless I'm ever interested. But there was an actual article that wrote it out. So, see, look at this. Like, in theory, that looks nice. Until it starts turning, and then I immediately go like, oh, no, that just feels so wobbly, and it feels so weird.
Ooh. Big bet. A better is backing Dan Hooker with a 5,000 money line. Did you see with what was it? Who fought what's his name? You were mentioning one of the fights. I think they were the light heavyweights. He had a really funky last name. Carlos Jr.
Yes.
So I think it was him because he lost, right?
Okay, yeah.
Someone put 20,000 on him to win. That's rough.
Yeah.
That hurts.
That's the kind of thing that I think that should be where a fighter and a bettor should never meet each other in real life, because that conversation can never go well. What I will tell you is a bettor at William Hill US just bet $200,000 on Dustin Poirier to beat Conor McGregor at plus 270 odds. There was also a 100,000 wager on Poirier at plus 270 at BetMGM. So
Jesus.
there's a lot of faith in him, and I want to say those are fun bets, but they're also completely out of my lane. So
That's a lot.
Could not tell you what I could do with the $200,000 as opposed to, saying like, I like this Dustin Poirier. I feel he's in a good headspace. Like, imagine justifying that to your family and saying, I saw the embedded and I thought, can't lose.
Yeah, it's just, I based it solely off of his interviews. He looked good, sounded confident. I'm like, I'm in. I'm sold. Well, remember when that one dude bet with Kay Hansen? I forgot what that payout was, but it was huge. And then they ended up running into each other afterwards in Vegas.
Oh, God.
I thought that was pretty cool.
That's pretty funny. It says Bjorn Rebney, who was the former head of One Bellator years ago, says he hasn't tweeted since January 2017. The next 30 minutes are as good as chance as any. That's a very funny thing to point out. So, yes, very nice to see. And as you mentioned, you are going for Hooker on this one. I'm going on the outlier chance for Chandler, though it is interesting to note that Chandler is giving up a little bit of that height here.
Yep.
So it's going to really depend on that wrestling. So we'll see very quickly if he's able to impose a takedown.
I apologize in advance. I'm probably going to be extremely quiet during this because I am nervous.
So you're nervous about your pick or just nervous in general for the fight?
For whatever reason, whenever there's like big fights, almost every main event, if I'm like really hyped on the two fighter, I'm just always nervous. I'm just always nervous to watch fights, especially when it's two guys that like I'm okay with either one winning. Mm-hmm. If it's like strictly one where I'm like, I can do without you, then I'm going for the one person. Even then, though, I still get nervous. I don't know. It's weird. Only for co-main and main event fights.
This is very strange that you have this specific of a problem that you're addressing when you go, Raph, it only happens on co-main and main events.
Yeah.
I get a little jittery. I worry if everybody's going to have a good time and they're going to have fun. I just want them to have fun. Yeah, no, this is an actual thing I'm going to have to figure out the psychological American Medical Association issue that's gone wrong with you. They're like, this is called co-mainophobia.
It's a combination of nervous and excitement, but also like, fuck, what's going to happen? I want to know what's going to happen like now.
And
but I gotta sit
let's
through
not overlook this, which is Bruce Buffer announced Michael Chandler as the former Bellator lightweight champion, which may be one of the first times in recent memory that I think any of us can ever, maybe if ever, recall that sentence being uttered in a UFC cage.
Chandler looks extremely calm. He looks chilling.
Well, I think that Chandler also expects for Hooker to really come at it with the strike, so I think he's just being very composed on being like, he's not rushing. All right, so let's figure it out if he's going to open up a little bit more here. I think that Hooker probably wants to counter off of that, figures, all right, I may have to sprawl and immediately look for something here. So I think both of these gents are maybe a little surprised at what the other is not doing.
So I know Hooker's from Izzy's camp, and City Kickboxing is usually pretty well known for their feints. I haven't seen a ton of feints.
Okay.
He's just been kind of throwing. He like pushes his jab out, but when you watch Izzy start, his hips are coming forward, like he's throwing his kicks. He's stepping a lot. Hooker's just kind of circling and.
Well, let's also give a little bit of information here, which is that yes, as Hooker is kind of keeping the pace on the sidestepping here, at one point while trying to initiate an exchange, and just in terms of the height differentium, pretty sure Chandler might have punched him in the ass. So there was that happened there. There's also this. Maybe he's like trying to keep him light on the feet so much because he remembers what happened to Chandler's leg at a certain point at Bellator. So he's like, you know what? If I just keep dancing around a little bit, he might have rolled his ankle again.
Oh. Chandler's coming hard now. Nice.
Chandler is pushing the action right now. That's very nice to see. And Chandler almost seems to be like, is this all you guys do in the UFC?
Which is fair because one of the statements Dan made was that he's fighting him because no one else wanted to, and he's like, "Well, okay, let's fight then. Let's go."
And
He's
again,
serving him a lot.
wow, and yeah, they're gonna stop this because he's not even responding at this point. Wow. Hold on, I gotta. Since you're on the stream with me, I gotta text Gabe.
Oh my god!
Hold on, because I texted Gabe, and Gabe was trying to give me shit for going against him.
For going against Chandler?
No, for going with Chandler. So Gabe was trying to like give me shit because he was like, I don't know, in true Gabe fashion. Gabe's like, I don't know, ref. I mean, you got to look at the way that Hooker fights, and there's a lot there.
Holy. He didn't come out right.
Gabe,
Hooker didn't look like he was
I'm actually on air right now, but I wanted to make sure I took the time just to tell you, wow, it was really amazing how I had insight, and I'm not an MMA coach, but like, what do I know? Frosto says hello. He's on this computer here, but yeah, I'm so sorry I was watching. Right. You should probably be watching though. Was he not watching?
No, watching us. I mean.
Oh yeah, no, he should be watching us.
Yeah. Dang. And what was funny? I was gonna say, if Chandler could win, I see it like this.
Yeah.
Like exactly like that. And I refrained from saying it because I thought classic rap fashion was be like, oh, now you think Chandler can win? Now you're going with him? You just said you had Hooker. And I'm like, all right. I'm just going to close it off in my mind. But damn, like that.
Listen, guys, when I get my feeling, it's hard to really get off that. Now, granted, I'm not going to put $200,000 on Chandler, but I just had an impulse here that things would go. And I have to say, let's go into the Dana White myth. Lands a dismount too. Oh, no, he doesn't. Just kidding. But tries to
double dismount.
Tries to immediately go into like, well, that didn't work. Let's see if I can cartwheel out of it. Nope. Still on my feet though. I think he was more fucked up by the actual backflip off of the cage there. Here's what I want to go ahead and ask you though, Frost, which is, let's think of this. Let's go into the fantasy world that is Dana White's scenario where there's a game that Khabib wants to be inspired to come back here. Is that good enough?
That's not bad. I think it's pretty close. Especially, okay, let's look at it this way. If we're looking at all the lightweights that are here for this night, Hooker just lost to Dustin. So he's lost 2 in a row now. Conor, he's already beat. Dustin's already beat. The only new challenge is Chandler, who has even said in interviews, he's like, I want to fight Khabib because I feel my wrestling matches his. Good old-fashioned American wrestling versus Dagestani Russian Sambo. I think that's intriguing. That was a good finish. That was impressive. First round.
I do want to hear what he says, though. And he's talking about the long road it took for him to get here. Small guy from a small town. All right, this is some boring shit, but okay, cool. Yep. Audience there definitely going like, cool, dude, you're wearing an American flag. We like that, I guess. Wow. What an incredible moment. Ooh. And you know what? Completely understandable that Hooker would want to try and stay out of that reach. There is a good reason for him to respect the amount of power that was in there, but that was very well timed and good angle. Oh, he's calling out Conor McGregor.
Oh.
And he's calling himself the king of the lightweight division. And Khabib, if hold on, okay. Speech friends. Let me go ahead and give you a little bit of what just happened.
Break it down, Raph. Break it
That's
down.
a lot of dangling modifiers that he put into that sentence.
Yep.
Which is, hey, if you guys want to beat somebody, should you be available and coincidentally interested in me fighting you too, then should you sign an agreement? Also, I would have interest in reciprocating a violent, maybe ish fight. Thank you.
I think we've been like the new thing was to call out somebody in your post fight because after Nate did his thing, you start to see what that does. Yeah. Then you saw the commentators in the post fight interview start to push them to call someone else. Like, who would you like to fight next? He's like, I'm just gonna call out all three of these motherfuckers. I just got all of them. You know, I'm not gonna leave no energy. I've never seen one person call out three people in a post fight interview.
Tony Ferguson. If you are free next Wednesday. Who else is here? Can I call it?
It was like a Grammy speech. It was like a Grammy speech. I got a list with me. I'd like to call out Conor McGregor, Tony Ferguson, Charlie Olives. Damn, that was nice though.
I should also amend this because I probably got a little ahead of myself. So Gabe did also technically say that he was going to be going for Chandler, but he prefaced it by saying that he was very, very weird about going against Hooker. So to me, it is the loosest form of support in agreement to what I was putting out there. So I just like that Gabe responded with, "Whew, that was pretty." So I'm just glad that he is in that good space. So either way, I just like the fact that Gabe specifically texted me right before I was about to go on air earlier today. And just like, he's never done this. He just goes, "Who are your picks? I got to know." And I go, this could come back to haunt me. So I don't know. Because I am usually very famously neutral on so many of these fights because I am on air forever. According to Wood's note that we have here, it says Chandler spits a lot. Yes. It turns out when you yell at that much of a projection, you will spill it a lot. So it does make sense. Whew. Well,
now I'm nervous, Raph. Now I'm even more nervous.
Why are you nervous now?
I mean, you go into these fights, you go into the co-main and the main, you're like, this could be a war. This could be 3 rounds. We could be looking at nice back and forth, dusted in the first round. Now you're going into the main. You're like, well, that could happen there too. But in which direction? In whose favor? I don't know. That makes me nervous, Raph. I don't like it.
There is something pretty remarkable here, though, about learning your phobia. Like, if you have a kryptonite in your possession, it's the fact that you're like, Raph, I have a weakness. What's that? Co-main events and main events. What? What weird phobia is this? I get really nervous about it sometimes, Raph. It makes me. Do you have the same feeling when you say go to a local fight and it's the co-main and main event for that?
No, not unless I know them.
Televised version. Oh yeah, but if you know them, it happens too.
Yeah. If I know some, well, it doesn't have to be co-main or main in that case. If I just know them and they're fighting, I'm anxious and nervous. But for here, it just has to be a really good matchup where I'm like, you know what I mean? Where I like both guys. I'm like, oh, this could go either way. I don't like waiting to know what happens. I'm like, okay, I just want to know who wins. Like, just tell me. Just let's figure it out right now.
This is fascinating to find out. You know what? Yeah. I'm going to send this footage to other psychologists, and I'm going to say, can you figure this out? Because I'm at a loss. I think this is beyond my expertise. I'm just intrigued.
Be like, oh, it's fine. They'll be like, that's going to be like people that go on roller coasters. They know it's going to be scary. They know they're going to be nervous, but they do it anyway, you know?
I'm pretty sure that none of them would say, it's okay, because I'm pretty sure all of them would want my money. And number 2, the only person that's possibly going to say it's okay is the psychologist that also bets on the side that goes, yeah, I feel the same.
Yeah, that'll be good. I'm in good company.
Especially when they go, yeah, I'm the guy that put money on Dustin Poirier at $200K. Oops.
Bet money on Hooker and didn't work out.
Listen, dude, that was exactly what I wanted from Chandler, to come over here and continue making this division exciting. Because, let's put it this way. If Khabib, and we all know he's retired, but if that is a real scenario and we have to go on without him, we need a division that's going to be exciting. So let's say Khabib, by all means and intents, is out. And he should be.
Yeah.
Chandler versus Conor is still very intriguing now. Now you wait to put that fight on with more fans in attendance, and you tell me that you don't get something even more incredible. And I want to make sure this is from Chamakar Sandhu, who says, Michael Chandler just channeled his inner 1992 Royal Rumble Ric Flair and melted my screen.
Straight up.
Called out Conor McGregor, Dustin Poirier, and Khabib Nurmagomedov. My man, that is how it's done. Take a bow. So people like the multiple choice ones. People shouldn't be just calling out one person. Why not hedge your bets? Call out everybody. I think that's what we've learned here today.
Well, okay, so let's look at it this way. Dan Hooker's number 6.
Okay.
Right now, Connor's 4, and Dustin's 1. So, in theory, let's say Conor beats Dustin tonight. That catapults him to 1. That moves Dustin back. It wouldn't make sense for Chandler, who's unranked currently, to jump all the way to number 1. So it might end up being Dustin. Again, just if he loses.
Okay.
If we end up with that. Now, if Conor loses, that makes perfect sense. Number 4, and, well, I mean, depending what he moves back to. If Chandler takes that 6 spot, now you got possibly 5 versus 6 or 7 versus 6 or whatever you want to give him. That's nice too.
You just did an excellent job of outlining a series of rankings that is predicated on the idea they mean anything. So what I would tell you is, I think what it is Conor looks at it tonight, should he win, and says, how do I make more money? That fight makes the money. Also, if Conor looks at him and says, ugh, that fight is too risky for me.
Yeah.
Watch him press Dana even more for the rematch with Khabib. Even to the point where he probably will give up some of the allowance on the back end points just to angle in and entice Khabib to come back for more. Yeah. I think that's part of it. But I don't know. This is a fancy series. This is a walkout that you enjoy as well.
They always make it so dramatic. Everyone else just walks out. He's like, I'm gonna wait like 2 minutes, and then we're gonna cruise out there.
That's very boxing of them. You should wait. Yeah. I would wait. I'll tell you this much, Frosto. If I'm going to make any kind of entrance as a fighter, which would probably be all that I would do, I would make it as dramatic as possible. And then I would look at everybody and be like, thank you for coming, everybody. That was a lot of fun.
That was it.
I had a great amount of time walking out. Everybody go home and be safe. Good night. And that'd be it. I think you will be entertained, though, in the sense that, our good friend Vince Cachero has gotten a fight. And one of the posts that I put up was I said, I love Vince. I think he's a good kid. He's a really, really nice guy. Good photographer and cinematographer as well. And I said, hey, man, my occasional jiu-jitsu nemesis is out there, and he's a good guy. I can't wait for him to get this. And Vince hit me up and he goes, occasional? The fuck's occasional at? And I was like, bro, I don't see you enough. I don't know what our beef is. And he's like, no, I want full-time status. And I was like, all right, fine, Vince, whatever you say. I hope you go beat this guy. And I go, but I'm just saying, I hope that I get the opportunity to heel hook you at some point. And he just goes, nah, fam, we on that leg attack game too. And I go, oh shit. Well, that was the shot I had. All right.
Yeah.
Good to see you, Vince. But
was that on the next card?
The February 28th card is when I think he is going. But one thing that I think you will be very entertained by it was a little bit of psychology that I had to use with Vince, which was, I was like, yo, dude, are you going to do sub-only, no time limit next time we roll? And he goes, no, I'm only doing IBJJF points with you. And I was like, oh, no, never would do that. And I got a gif of Kobe Bryant that just said, soft. And he goes, God damn, you use Kobe against me. Oh, I hate that. I was like,
Can't say anything now.
Research. No, but Vince, he's fighting UFC February 28th, I think, if not sooner. But it's nice that he gets a fight in his own fucking division and that he gets a little bit of time and headway to do that. And it says, Raph, do Nick Cage while watching the next fight. I can't do that. Not for this fight.
No. Not while I'm on, because I'm going to turn my headphones off.
Oh. I just like the idea that I'm not afraid to do the Nick Cage voice. while I am filling time, but this is a pretty big fight. So I don't want people who watch.
Crowd.
That is a good sized crowd. It probably is closer to maybe over 6,000 that you were saying.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised.
I like it.
Plus, especially at like last week's point, they probably go, "We did 2,000 fine. Just add 9,000 in there. No one will notice. It's fine."
Yeah, it's no difference.
So very excited.
Basically, we should just book our tickets to Abu Dhabi now.
Yeah, if you miss live fights that much, book your tickets to Abu Dhabi. Oh no! Apparently, Ben Folks just said no one thought about being a double champion before Conor McGregor did it, and that's what DC said out loud. That's a dumb thing. This is why I'm glad I don't listen to the commentary. I'm very, very pleased that we don't have to listen to it anymore. Eek.
Man. People thought that Conor was going to get booed because they're in Abu Dhabi, and you could easily say it's a lot of Khabib fans there. Nope. A lot of cheers.
Nah. In fact, opposite of that. They are soccer cheering him right now. So
that's legit.
It's legitimately the opposite reaction some of those people would have felt would happen. What I would tell you though, Frosto, is that again, it goes to the sense of no matter how much people say they want to dislike him, they still are intrigued by him. So
always.
It's very silly.
Did you see the episode of Looking for a Fight with Khabib on it with Dana White and them?
Yes.
Where he's like, they're sitting at the booth. He's like, yo, this fight with Conor and Dustin is trending higher than you and Conor. Imagine what a rematch would do. I'm just like, dude, shut up. What are you talking about? Why would you lead it with like, yeah, this fight, way bigger than yours. But you have a chance to redeem yourself and make it bigger. You just got to come back. That's all you got to do.
Also, does Khabib strike you as the person who goes, Dana, what are the numbers? Khabib is like, how are we trending? Number one? This is number one, Dana. Number one all time. Like, Khabib doesn't give a shit if he's number one on the Soul Train list. Like, he is not emphatic about this unless he wants to fight. That's his whole thing. He's not trying to promote the fight. The fight is promoted by his record and his resume. And yet, other fighters have to do other things. So, when I saw that clip of Dana being like, hey, Khabib, you see this fight over here? It's trending even better than yours. Just think about what your next one with Conor could do. And Dana White's very proud of himself being like, haha, look at I just fucking scored here. And Khabib literally turned away like, yeah, that's nice. Pass water, please. So I don't think anybody was out of their mind impressed by that except for Dana White.
Dang,
well,
Dustin looking stacked.
Are you still going to keep with your original pick on this one?
Yep.
Okay. And for people who are just joining, who was the original pick, sir?
I'm going with McGregor.
Okay.
McGregor.
But
what
you were
round?
just talking about
no clue.
You were just talking about how stacked one Dustin Poirier looks. So
They both do actually. I got my group chat going, and our good friend Kevin Ross instantly came out with, yo, McGregor looking thick. And for sure, he's looking big.
I just appreciate the fact that that's the one form of analysis that I think anybody ever goes to Kevin with, which is how thick this guy look.
Yep,
Kevin goes, here you go, hold on, I'll figure it out. No, he's thick. Like, that's the extent of his analysis.
Your punching power is reinforced by thickness. So how thick you are is important. It matters.
I was just giving him shit, I think, earlier this week because I said, Kev, nobody has bigger meltdowns that are more fun to watch on Twitter than Kevin Ross when the Saints are playing, because going into full meltdown, he caps on himself. Like, he makes fun of how stupid he was to believe something maybe an hour before, and he'll just be like, fuck. And then 10 minutes later, okay, we're in this, we're still there. And I go, you were saying all of the things out loud that you don't need to on a written and long-term basis, and you don't delete them. And he just goes, man, if you like this, just wait until we get closer to fucking playoffs. And when Drew Brees was looking like he's about to retire, I just go, hey, Kev, big fan of this season finale of you watching the Saints game. Can't wait to see what next year holds. He goes, oh, it's going to be bad once we get to fucking preseason. I'm going to be a fucking mess. Tune in. It's going to be madness.
All right, I don't want to say it, but what if Dustin KOs him in like 10 seconds?
Great. Do a third one.
Yeah, exactly. That's the thing. It doesn't go bad for Conor either way. If he loses, he's good. If he wins, he's better. Like
if he loses, it makes the appeal of wanting to see him come back even better. Dustin will have some swag. It's not done for the pose of charityness on that one. Instead, you now see both of them return to very driven and crazy men. So yeah, a third fight would be just fine here. But am I rooting for Conor to continue making some sort of weird disruption to this whole division that seems like it's in limbo? Like, this should be for a title tonight. It just should.
You think so?
Yeah, why not? Why? What else are we going to do with it?
Because Conor's last fight at 55 was against Khabib, and he lost. I've never seen anyone go from a title shot, lose, go up a weight class, totally irrelevant fight, come back down, and like, cool, I get a title shot.
You, again, assume that any of this has anything to do with anything. This is literally Dana White picking and choosing what the fuck he wants to make the money with. So when people are talking about these rankings that the UFC puts out themselves, like, yeah, they sound nice, but the problem is,
you know what? We gotta regulate, Raph. We have to regulate. We have to put a little bit of sense into these people and a little bit of democracy into the situation.
Yeah, of course.
Like, look, this is how it's gonna work. Just this one time. Next time, you do whatever you want. But let's get a little MMA math going that's somewhat correct.
That's exactly the way that we have every person who's guested on our show ever described Dana White running the UFC as a democracy. That's a very important thing. What I would tell you, though, is Conor and Khabib have dusted so much of the division that their inevitability seems kind of fun to imagine as a rematch. But it seems like a weird pipe dream where it's like, yeah, Khabib just probably doesn't want to do that. And I think actually takes satisfaction in saying, I don't want to give him the pleasure of a rematch. In fact, I think that makes him more antagonistic to saying, like, my mother has said I have retired 3 more times in this fight.
Okay. I don't know what I'm
starting to see the physical wear and tear on you. As I see you devolve into this. Now, this is strange because you've been watching martial arts competitions for over, 20 years now? And this is still happening?
Not 20 years. No, not 20 years.
When did you first start getting into the UFC?
Like 15 years or 12 years.
Okay.
Hey, 5 years makes a lot of difference. That's a purple belt. You know what I mean? Doing some white belt and purple belt.
It depends. A purple belt during pandemic is still like 20 years now.
Conor needs to chill.
No, Conor wants to get straight to it. Conor already with a good 1-2 on the right hand. Ooh, Poirier looks nice with that. Good kick by him. Am I seeing you rock back and forth in your chair a little bit right there?
Yeah, Poirier looks nervous.
Yeah, you're starting to see it there. Ooh, good connect though.
Landed though.
He did land, and I think part of it is he's just staying planted on where he wants to keep his legs. Like, he is not moving excessively on it. Nice takedown attempt. Good work there. He does get the takedown on Mcgregor, who immediately goes over to the cage side. This is already a much better game plan for Conor McGregor if you are Dustin Poirier. So McGregor trying to get in some rabbit punches here. You know what's nice? I think the improvements that you'll see from Dustin are that of one that worked very nicely for Khabib against Conor McGregor. It's very interesting to see those implementations here.
But the difference being is that Poirier is not going to do as much damage as Khabib did in their fight, especially from this position. He can keep him here,
not yet.
But nice.
Conor McGregor looks like he's about to rake the eyes. We're about to see the heel come back out of him. Nice reversal of position here. Beautifully done. A shoulder shuck from Conor McGregor and Dustin Poirier at one apiece. Gets a nice shot to the body there by McGregor, who's pushing him up, probably getting his breath back. Look at this.
Oh.
These two guys are so in the process of just trying to nudge each other with their shoulders. And as we've seen, those shoulder shrugs were enough to knock out one Cowboy Cerrone. One, Dustin Poirier reverses the position. He has one underhook here, and he is leveling his position very nicely against McGregor, who might be able to start circling out. Poirier, for his measure, gets one good left hook in.
You think McGregor's whispering to him like, "Hey man, I'm putting $500K towards your donation. I'll give you another 500 if you chill."
That's a great point. I think that is probably what he's talking about. He's like, hey,
Yeah.
this is for charity, right?
Yeah, thought we talked about it.
Again, look at this. I mean, Dustin's close to a single here if he wants to take it. McGregor, way better balance than he was maybe a few seconds ago. Mm-hmm. I would really like to see Dustin's opt to that single and really start trying to take it out. Because, again, Conor's striking is always good. The grappling is a little bit more suspect.
Mm-hmm. I like this game plan from Dustin. I like that he's being patient with it. Like, even for as, you know, when they break, Conor's landing his shots, but he's sticking with this plan. I like it. Dude, the amount of power he gets in those shoulder strikes, like Dustin does it, it's just so moderate.
Yeah.
And then when Conor does it, his head like thrashes back into the fence.
It does look like they are saying something to each other, though, at this point.
They were joking on the shoulders because they were both throwing him back and forth. It's like, yo.
No, but you are correct. It definitely is the difference between, say, like a dad throwing a shoulder shrug with his son, and the difference between the two on being like, is this how I'm supposed to do it? And the dad being like, nah, kid, here's how it's done.
It's like this. Yeah.
Which is weird, because I guess if you really come to the end of the round and you have to score it, and somebody does shoulder shrugs, do you go, how do I score this round? He had better shoulder shrugs in this minute. So, it'd be very intriguing to see how this works. Dustin, a little bit more confident now. Goes for a snatch single. Opts to go ahead and pull back a little bit right there. 120 on my clock. Conor with a nice jab there. Finds his distance very nicely. That's going to increase the amount of, I guess, stirred confidence for one Dustin Poirier, who now is swinging a little wildly right there. Didn't really like that too much.
Now he's trying to get his shots in.
Mm-hmm. Nope, that's a little bit more of the Conor that we've seen in the past. That's the biggest question mark is, listen, dude, we don't see Conor fight all of the time. Nice return strike by one Dustin Poirier, who even points at Conor McGregor as to be like, hey, man, are you still the same shape that you used to be? McGregor responds in turn, and Poirier kicks his way back over to the center.
Poirier
Nice plan
nice
there.
right hand. I think it stunned him a little bit.
A little bit, indeed.
He stopped pressing forward after that, but he's landing.
Now, mind you, this is how interesting this fight has gone thus far in. It feels like we've seen a pretty good amount of fight just within the first 4 minutes and 40 seconds. So this is still a 5-rounder, guys. This is a very interesting thing that we're going to be all in the mix of. And I think Poirier threw a strike as if to be like, does this work? Does this do anything for you? Nah? All right, bro.
Oh, that one hurt.
Mm-hmm. Very good beginning of the fight. First round in, Conor not breathing a little over heavy, but I mean, he's definitely wondering where that water bottle is, one might say.
I don't think his cardio is that bad. I think it's his muscle fatigue, like the lactic acid buildup whenever, especially when he goes and transitions from grappling to striking, like you see his punches become significantly slower, and it's usually just when you go straight from that grappling transition over, which was surprising. He didn't disengage sooner. He had some moments where he could have just where he had reversed the position on the fence. He could have backed up and just started striking, but he stayed there and kind of was throwing those shoulder strikes.
Look at the replay of that shoulder shrug. It looks like it bent part of Poirier's nose for a split second.
Oh, man.
Yeah, that was probably my favorite strike that they're doing on this replay right now from Conor. That was well done.
I wanted to see the one Dustin landed because that looked like it stopped Conor in his tracks.
It did. It definitely gave him a little bit of pause. And I have to say, Poirier looking very, very solid after the very first round. So good for him, man. Ooh, that kick wobbled Conor a little bit, but he returns with a good strike that does daze one Poirier. Now Conor maybe start pressing a little bit harder on that cage. As you see, Poirier understanding, man, maybe I should keep attacking that lead leg with a few kicks. Conor returns
There
with the
we
kick
go.
of his own.
I was going to say,
Very
I don't
nice.
like that we're not seeing kicks from Conor.
Yeah. Look
In their
at
first
that.
fight, he came with a hook kick in the first 2 seconds.
Nice catch of the kick right there.
He needs to be careful if he does that again.
I mean,
Could go
Poirier
up
is ahead 11-1 on the leg kicks in the second round already, so it'll be very interesting to see. And it does look like media row, in addition to Kevin Early, but many more are seeing this as a Conor McGregor round 1 in their eyes. So we'll see how everybody else has it scored thus far in.
That leg's getting chewed up. His movement's already way slower.
Very much so. That's very interesting.
We get
to see
out
how
of
that's
this
going.
round, it's going to favor Poirier if we get out of this second.
Okay.
Especially if he keeps going
Wow.
like that leg.
This is a big opportunity for Conor right there, and I would really rather see him try to go for that takedown all the way instead of just letting him stand back up. But he's going to keep catching these kicks.
Right.
If he can do that, I think this is a really different game for him.
Yeah, he needs to return.
It's very interesting to see how he just catches the kick and doesn't go for the trip or at least return with a kick of his own. Because I think that's allowing, Dustin Poirier to really find his way back in with the recovery.
I think Conor's now realizing how durable Poirier is at 55.
Yeah.
It's way different.
Yeah.
Way different.
He's not maybe as depleted as he used to be. Good reach there by Conor, though. Oof. The angles are a little different, and I think part of that was that kick over there by Poirier, who has clipped Conor right now. Oh, Conor is moving, but this is not looking good. Oh, shit. I think he is starting to dust up him right now. Oh, shit.
Oh!
It's done.
Oh, out!
Wow.
Wow. Yo. Man. Wow.
That's impressive.
Man. Yep, that was nice. That was nice. First time he's been KO'd.
Good for Dustin Poirier, though.
For real.
Okay, hear me out, though, on this.
Okay, go.
Dustin Poirier, Mayweather.
Get the fuck out of here. Not even close. Not even close. No. But, man. Wow.
What
that
a
was
day. I mean, Bruce is in good spirits. Dustin Poirier made a whole bunch of money for his charity. Conor is on the stool now. Wow.
Yeah, his leg is wrecked.
Yeah. I mean, what an incredible performance. This is exactly what Dustin Poirier needed, I think, just in terms of his story, man. I mean, looking at his last loss, that had to be pretty heavy on him. And it's that kind of loss that people maybe forget about how good he is and the context of what that means. But holy fuck, that was pretty cool to see.
So,
I mean,
okay,
listen,
so here's one thing
go
I
ahead.
want to point out. For any fighters, I'm going to say fighters specifically because this is not anything to do with jiu-jitsu.
Sure.
But one thing I don't see trained enough or practiced enough,
Mm-hmm.
they do a lot of conditioning, a lot of heavy lifting, a lot of, practicing each individual art, a lot of practicing the blending of arts together. But body conditioning, you need to practice body conditioning. Like the fact that Conor's been kicking for as long as he had, took 5 leg kicks and was wrecked. Like, dude, you need to be prepped for that. I mean, you get K1 kickboxers in here that take leg kicks all day. You need to be prepped for that. And I don't think enough fighters do body conditioning. Like, so you see some people take one body shot down, other people, ooh, man, out.
I mean, it was maybe an inevitability that we were going to see him get knocked out in this form. In the sense
I
of
agree.
maybe we didn't. I mean, I didn't see that it was going to be Dustin today, but it was definitely something that is very impressive to see, just in the sense of it makes sense for Dustin's narrative, but also like I think you're talking a little bit about not just the body conditioning, but just the time away, dude. Like these spaces in between fights are so long that I've always been suspect, especially since like 2016 Conor has been a weird anomaly to try and put a finger on.
Yeah. Man, that was nice.
I'm pretty glad we got to see that. Okay. So let's chat.
So now,
let's chat about a few things, okay?
First
and foremost, I'll go first. I'm just going to pose the question.
Okay,
That's what a good host does.
All right.
The question I'm going to pose to you is, we saw Chandler. We saw this. If you're Khabib and you're in the Dana White fantasy, do you say, I'm impressed by either of those things?
I say you're impressed by both, but the issue is he beat Dustin pretty emphatically.
Agreed.
Like Dustin had zero shot in that fight. So impressive, yes, but how do you move forward? Okay, I'm gonna get through these interviews.
Yeah, let's see what he has to say. I mean, he's good for him, dude.
Yeah.
I think that means you have to buy his hot sauce now.
Oh, I'm gonna buy 2. Don't worry.
You got Dustin Poirier saying he's not surprised. And he's putting over Conor. Maybe this is what we need. You were asking if Conor's going to get over with the fans. This might be the thing that actually gets him fully over, is the good guy saying what a good guy he is. And clearly, I don't know what this is in regards to, but okay. Go ahead and tell us what it is in terms of nope. I think you might be saying this isn't impressive enough for Khabib.
Oh, gotcha.
Dustin saying the goal was to be technical and not brawl at all in this one. And he's saying he has a tendency of getting very crazy, and that has come to hurt him in the past. And that he has some good counterboxing, and that he's kind of clowning Max Holloway doesn't have the boxing that he does. That's a tough one to say. I don't know. I mean, they feel like they're in different divisions just in reality, if we're being honest. So all things considered, he definitely did beat Max Holloway twice, but Max Holloway's numbers are pretty significantly impressive if we're going to talk about something. What's that, Frosto? Did he just say what I said, which is this should have been a title fight? Weird.
Of course he's got to say that. He just won. So, yeah, I would say that too, to be like, yo, I'm the champ right now. Say something.
All right, Conor McGregor is going to make words after being knocked out for the very first time. Anik is asking, how do you feel? He said the lower calf was feeling pretty bad. And it wasn't as good as he needed it to be. Says he's going to dust it off and come back. So Rikishi, it does not look like he is retiring, at least from this. And it says, I hope not. I do not believe he is. Says he put in a lot of work and he's proud of his own work. He says he'll chill and regroup. So I think that's probably the answer you're looking for, Rikishi. Well, let's say this. Okay. Conor's definitely hobbling a little bit, and with good reason. Those kicks definitely look like they hurt a lot.
That leg's rough.
Okay. So we talked about that doesn't impress you.
Okay.
Then do we see Chandler and Hooker. I'm not sorry. I'm sorry. Chandler and Dustin then.
So okay. So if you're Habib and you see these performances, Chandler would be impressive because of the way he finished, who he finished, and it's somebody he's never fought. Granted, again, Hooker's on a 2-fight losing streak. He beat Dustin, he beat Conor. I felt like either of those wins wouldn't have done anything for him anyway. Doesn't mean he can't still be impressed by it. I think he was still impressed by Dustin because that is the first person to TKO or KO Conor ever. This is our submissions. And, that's still impressive either way. Now, if he decides to come back, if I were him, I'd probably come back from Chandler because you got two organizations. You got what Chandler calls American wrestling versus Russians. And you got two grapplers essentially going at it with Chandler having his, that power that we just saw tonight on Hooker. So you have a couple things to kind of mix up in there. That's someone he's never faced. But if he chooses not to come back, and this wasn't a title fight, I think Dustin and Chandler for the title, for sure.
This indirectly, I guess, or directly, answers William Nelson's question, which is, so who's going to fight for the title? It seems vacant to me. Well, tell that to Dana White, because it does not seem vacant to him.
Yeah.
And in fact,
if it's
it seems
vacant,
like...
I would say Dustin and Chandler.
Yeah, that seems like the fight to make, though, right?
Only makes sense. After tonight, 100%.
Because I'm looking at how this shapes up with everybody else. And I got to tell you, from what I've seen from like a Tony Ferguson, we're good. Like none of this at all is in that realm. I think that ship has sailed. My apologies, due respect to everybody involved. But when you talk about Tony time, this is not like this caliber of folk that we have right now is very, very dangerous and very, very like things change very quickly here. So if we're talking about Khabib's division, you have Justin Gaethje, Dustin Poirier, Charles Oliveira, who did seem to pique a little bit more of Khabib's interest, if I'm guessing, if by only the reason that Khabib just hasn't really dusted him yet. Then, after Charles Oliveira, you had Conor McGregor at the 4 spot versus Dustin Poirier at the 2 spot. So, what happens now? Hooker was at 6. You're probably going to see people rise up very quickly. After that being one, Michael Chandler. So even if Khabib says, I'm not in it anymore, we have a perfectly functional division that exists without him that is still compelling and that I am very excited to see play out. Other things to consider. Poirier and Gaethje again. Oh no, I see a battery exhausted here, Frosto. That's not great. Oh man. This is how you can tell. This is novice work by one Michael Frosto over here. I will be keeping a lookout for him. We'll see when he comes back on. But instead, allow me to go ahead and put this on out. Kevin Bradley chiming in with the holy shit. Yes, indeed, sir. That is a crazy ass finish. And man, I cannot begin to tell you the amount of surprise and also happy surprise to see here. Oh, Jesus. Are you in infrared mode now? Nope, you're back. All right. You will be back here in just a second. I see... Oh, did you just appear out of thin air? What the fuck, Frost?
Dude, I'm the new Mystic Mac.
Good for you. So, let's say this. Gaethje, Poirier, Charles Oliveira, and now Michael Chandler. Any other shapes that you want to see there?
Those are the top. But Charles Oliveira is my question. Who does he fight? He just came off of a huge win over Tony, who was supposed to fight, and you can't put him against Hooker. He just had 2 losses.
Yep.
If you're trying to put Chandler in a title shot right away with Poirier, okay, then does he fight Conor? Conor just lost. So it's like, who else is there?
I mean, here's some good news. I think this justifies Conor versus Tony.
Yeah.
So I think that fight makes more sense now. So let's push that into its non-title contention. It's just on an outside island of something that seems fun to do. So that's over there. But talking about these 4 gentlemen that are still left in there, let's do some mixing and matching. Let's look at Charles Oliveira versus Justin Gaethje. Or let's look at, even Michael Chandler versus won Charles Oliveira is kind of fun to me in my brain, because now you got him at that 6 spot for Hooker, and you figured that kind of works there. And now clearly, I think the real issue is going to be like, Dana's going to go up to people who previously they tried throwing Chandler at and say, you don't have a choice now. We're just going to move on if it's not you.
I think Charles Oliveira also could step in and fight Conor as well.
Okay, I'm good with that.
I could see that. I could see Chandler fighting Gaethje. I could see Dustin chilling right now. He just had 2 big fights, 2 big wins. I could see Dustin chilling. Gaethje and Chandler fight to see who faces Dustin for the vacant title. And then you could, either way, that's a win. Either way, that's a big win. Even though Dustin already beat Gaethje, Gaethje was winning that fight and then got reckless and got caught.
Yeah, I think that's a weird one, because I feel like Gaethje and Dustin is a fun fight at all times. I don't know how amicable those two are to it in fighting each other, but I feel like the rest of us want to see 2 guys like that fighting each other. And especially if you're going on the contention now that Dustin is saying, like, I want to fight a more technical style now. I want to fight a little bit more exciting in the way that I do it, but that's better for me, so that I'm not just going to be wasted. Like, okay, if that's the whole thing that you're putting out there, dude, maybe you got some shit that we just aren't really aware of or can fully predict on this side.
And I'm a Conor fan, but I think we can negate the whole, like, I went to round 4 with Khabib, because Khabib dusted Dustin and Dustin just KO'd him. So MMA math.
I don't know that that's necessarily a weird thing either, because I'm looking at it from this perspective, which is Conor, after he came back from the Mayweather fight, just became more of a attraction than a championship fighter. So I think that he succeeds in that. Like, think of the people that they've matched him up with. Him versus Khabib, it was like, dude, I don't even think this is the Conor McGregor that should be fighting Khabib. The Conor that should be fighting Khabib is 2015. When I saw that fight got put together, I go, Khabib's got this, dude. It's just, as much as I'd like to say that Conor could have a chance against him, time off, boxing, not the same, not working on the immediate deficiencies, which is Khabib's wrestling, which would be problematic for him. But then going into a 4th round is like, all things considered, still fairly impressive, but that's not the Conor that's going to beat him. Then you pair him with what? A Cowboy Cerrone, which is an attraction fight. It's not a fight that moves the championship needle. It's just one that keeps us interested. Then you look at this one and you say, I mean, he already beat a Dustin. So what is he really going to gain other than a title shot? Maybe. I don't even know that that's warranted or necessary, other than it just sounds like fun. And now that he's lost to Dustin Poirier, it's like, okay, dude, well, now we've just got a really weird and confusing division of people who have all history with each other and could be there. And I see right here there's a note that says, I think you mean Dustin, but it says, Dustin has done more than enough to say my next fight is for the title. Tony didn't, and now look. Well, I mean, Tony, let's put it this way. Let's never say what Tony did as a standard bearer for anything. Because Tony says and does weird-ass fucking shit, and I don't know that anybody should ever lead by that example in their life.
Well, that was my big issue with making this a title fight, was the fact that his last fight was Cerrone in an entirely different weight class. And it was a good performance, but like you said, it was an attraction. It wasn't, Cerrone, nothing against him, but it's not like he was up running for a title at any point. So it's okay. You need a fight. This was that. It didn't go his way. I would like to see Justin come back into the picture. He's been away for a while. He had his one loss, didn't take damage in that fight, just, got put to sleep. I'd like to see him against somebody. Him against Chandler would be nice. Him against Oliveira would be nice. Honestly, anything. Oliveira's on what, 12-fight win streak at this point? Mm-hmm. Is it like 7 or 8?
It's impressive with the amount of wins that he's got. But let's go over where Dustin Poirier's losses are. So his losses are Khabib and Michael Johnson. And then the last loss before even that was going to be Conor McGregor back in 2014. So that's why I think, like, beating Conor McGregor now in 2021 versus back in 2014, like, again, these are just two different eras of fighters. You have Conor McGregor, the fighter who was hungry and young and probably at the peak of what he really is at that time, versus now where it's like, man, what a great fighter who can still surprise you with some really fun fights. It's just, I don't know. I don't know how to equate those things with different lost time, because let's be real with it. Bobby, you just asked, is the main card up yet? It's done. We just saw the end of it, and Conor McGregor got dusted by one Dustin Poirier, and it was impressive, man. It is savage level by one Dustin Poirier. Impressively done.
With Conor's post-fight interview, it's interesting to hear about his talk of activity and being active. I do agree he was way more active when he was coming up. I don't know if that entirely contributed to his success, like just being consistently active the entire time. I mean, he was still good regardless. I think he had some periods where he took time off. I think when he first got in, he might have had 3 fights that year. So that's, super active for a UFC fighter. But after that, he had some time in between.
Well, let's be real. The difference between Conor saying that he took time off was when you're younger. When you take time off and you're older, it's not the same. Like taking that 1 year off in fight life when you are starting to get older is very significant. Like that's almost the equivalent of 2 years. So going from the Khabib fight to then fighting Donald Cerrone, like that's a significant amount of time that was not in an octagon where things are just different. The game changes around you. So I don't know. But Bobby, you're asking, so what happens to Conor now? I mean, a lot of question marks because, again, we're talking about him as the attraction fighter. So I think he's versatile enough where he's fought in 3 different divisions, but 2 of which are primarily of interest to the rest of us at this point. I say you just feed him fights that seem fun. And you mentioned Charles Oliveira. If you're talking about going off the rankings, which I don't think they do, I think that if he wants to make money, fight Oliveira. Like, if Oliveira wants to make money, then obviously take that Conor McGregor fight. It's just not going to up your stature.
Make money, or if Conor wants to make money?
I'm sorry. If Oliveira wanted to make money. If Oliveira wanted to make money, take the Conor fight. If he's not as focused on the title. If he's looking at that title, you need to accept Chandler, Gagey, or what we just saw here tonight with Dustin Poirier. So I think those are the main things. But, hey, man, you could circle back to some of these dumb fights. That when I heard them talking about Nate Diaz as a thing, I go, I would watch a third fight with them because what else are they going to do? Like, you're not going to put Diaz into a title fight contention, and you want to put him up with another attraction fight. So, yeah, sure, why the fuck not? That's my thing. And it says, fun fights, he's had a good career already. Take the entertaining fights for the money. Absolutely. Why do anything different or stupider that you don't need to do?
I mean, in his mind, he wants to get back to the title. I don't see that happening at this point. If Dustin did good. Dustin had a great performance. I think Conor did have a very, very bad showing in that he said he wanted to answer questions about conditioning and all this and that. I don't think he answered that question. I think he looked like he got tired really quick.
Well, Bobby,
leg kicks or.
Bobby asked this question, which is, do you guys still think he has enough left in the tank for serious fights? I mean, here's the fun part. You can have stuff in the tank for serious fights, but the fight game may not have respect for you anymore. It might just move on to the point where it's like, you know what? These could still be serious fights, but not serious for a title. So I still... It looked weird, and you mentioned this after the first round. It was something that crossed my mind too, was after that first round, Conor looked depleted, and you mentioned a lot of it is based on movement. If you have to keep something in the tank for fighters in this particular division, you can't look like that after your first round of 5.
Yeah, I think also too, like he does do one thing, and this is what makes him so good, but it does use an extreme amount of energy. It's just, if for typical fighters, they're just moving. They're moving in and out. They're going through their typical movements to attack, and they have they have defense within that. But he has specific movements for defense, specific movements for offense, and he's trying to stay hyper focused on both. And both use a tremendous amount of energy. So when you're going back and forth of you see his wide stance that he's always doing, and he's trying to like lean to this side, lean to that side, and step in and out and back out to counter. Like, it takes extra energy to do that, to spot it, and then to, use that energy to retreat for your defense, but then to push forward again for your attack. It's a lot of energy he's using, and to maintain that, I don't think he's figured out a way to do that. So we'll see. I don't think it's going to go.
You'll see.
Lose stock though.
Well, look at this. Even the fight statistics right now are going to be, what is this? Dustin Poirier was 48 of 91 on his significant strikes. Conor McGregor was 29 of 66. So, Conor used to have a pretty high accuracy rate, which, all things considered, not that bad. But if Dustin Poirier is putting more output and he has more knockout power in him and the ability to take it to the ground, that becomes a very difficult thing. And even looking at the strikes on the leg kicks, 18 out of 21 were what Dustin Poirier landed on those leg kicks, and those completely played a factor in Conor's inability to move when he was under duress. So I think those are contributing things. I think those are very, very weird elements to look at this juncture. I will pose this to you, Frosto, because I think it's an important question to answer, and I hope you have one for it. But what do we make now of the casual fan who only shows up for Conor McGregor fights? Do you have any insightful wisdom for those folks? Because they must be hurting today.
I mean, if you're watching Conor McGregor, like you said, it's for either of the reasons. You either really hate him and you want to see him lose, or you really like him and you want to see him win. I think either way, you're going to continue to watch him. I don't think he loses stock at all just because of what Poirier's done. And no matter what he does, I mean, when he got choked out by Nate Diaz, didn't lose any stock, dusted it off. And it's also the way he accepts the defeat, the way he's just, so nonchalantly is like, I made this mistake. I didn't do this properly. It happens. That's life. Let's move on. And he does. And I mean, that's kind of the world we're in anyway, where just things happen and then there's so many new things happening, we forget, and then we just move forward. So he handles it well. He transitions out of it really well. And I think for fans, like, it's still entertainment, and he's still very entertaining, regardless if he loses or wins. I'm still going to watch. I'm still a fan. I still love it. So we're good.
Yeah. It's also very apropos of how most fighters kind of go on the back nine. Like, this is something you got to get used to seeing, is sometimes those guys start to go a little bit more on the losing side. And, it's very funny because when you do look back at their overall careers, you do usually take that into factor. A lot of times people don't necessarily say, like, Muhammad Ali's losses teach us a lot. It's like, well, no. I mean, Muhammad Ali is a great fighter. Or you look at people who, like, even when Tyson comes back and they're like, he was a machine. I was like, I mean, remember those fights where he was really rough shape, I think the idea is the overall composite of Conor's fight ability is he's somebody that captivated people. He had incredible fight performances. I don't think that he's done, but I think that we have to adjust our expectations, because
I'd like to see him stay at this weight class. Like, he jumped around so much. I mean, you're going to misperform at some point. When he was at 45, he never went up. He just stayed there, dusted everybody, and then went up and went down, and then went up even higher and then back down. But if he's going to stay at 55, stay at 55. And, he said he spent time rebuilding his body to fit a 155 frame. Well, it's one thing to build the frame, but now you got to adapt to that frame. And I think he still has to do that in an actual fight. So I still think he's able to get back to where he was, but it'll probably take longer. And like you said, he's getting older. So, I mean, not by a lot. He's 32, but that catches up quick. So we'll see what he does.
Very interesting. All right. Let's do the following. Let's go ahead and circle here. I'm going to go ahead and ask you to go ahead and plug anything you want, sir. You have the ability. You have the microphone. You have the time. I'm going to put the camera on you. Go ahead and feel free to plug whatever you want to plug, sir.
Let's see. I would just plug myself, first and foremost, for doing this. And, as Raph alluded to, I'm usually behind the camera, not always in front of it. So, that is typically what I do, is some video production stuff for combat jiu-jitsu and other things. But there's also the combat jiu-jitsu coming up in March that is going to be fantastic, that I'm really excited about. Again, in Cancun, Mexico, which if you guys haven't watched yet, is beautiful. And I can't wait for that one. But outside of that, Got nothing for you, Raph. That's all I got for today. No.
Do you want to plug maybe the sweater you're wearing because it seemed conveniently in the shot?
No, I don't at all. Actually, no. I don't even know this guy. It's, sometimes you just want to help people out of bad situations. This was my contribution to the Good Fight Foundation. No, I'm kidding. Okay, so this is one Milton Arguello. Is he your gi nemesis? Or how would you classify him?
He's not showing up. He's too busy. He's gotten to a point now where he is training in the gi. We know that.
Yeah.
But he is not responding to anything in terms of, we gonna do this? And he's always like, no, my brother, I must be humble now. I cannot. And I go, this does not sound like you. I have my wits about me. You're working on getting better at gi. I don't believe a word you say. But at some point, you got to show up. And I got to tell you, man, I don't know. But I will say, I did tell Edwin Najmi this, which is, listen, dude, I don't know what he's going on about. But if you spend about a real good week with that kid and teach him what you know about gi, it's going to already catch him up to my gi game.
Yeah. I mean, but also Edwin hasn't been there. I think he's done some sessions with Edwin, but Edwin's been in Abu Dhabi doing his thing there, so
True.
Maybe it'll slow him down a little bit, so we should probably catch him now. But no, this is Milton Arguello with his MMA Academy that he runs. And first of all, this sweatshirt is extremely soft. I don't know if he has any more, if he's selling any more, but Milton Arguello, I've known him since he was a young teenager, young man now, still a young man, but doing big things and still trying to get some training in and train people with kickboxing and jiu-jitsu and whatever he can. But I will ask to anyone watching, I'm looking to purchase some rollout mats. So if anyone has any, I've only seen brand new ones. And I don't really want to do that. So if anyone has any, I'll purchase them. Just let me know. Or let Raph know to let me know.
I thought that was the best version of somebody who's asking for the jiu-jitsu version of, y'all got any crack cocaine? Like, you got any more of those mats, man?
Yeah. Okay, so you know my news, right? So I purchased a new couch to fill some space. Yeah. Well, due to the COVID situation, they said rough delivery date is 20 weeks.
No!
Now, I'm no UFC mathematician, but that's like May. So I'm like, okay, if I'm not going to have anything in there till May, I'm like, might as well put mats in there. So I just literally want mats just put in my living room, and I'm gonna train there. That'll be where I watch TV, and that'll be where I train. So that's what I'm looking to fill. That's the spot.
That's so funny. I cannot believe the fact that they're like, hey, we're gonna get this to you as soon as possible in 20 weeks. Are you good with that? We're gonna go and invoice you.
So confident. I was like, you just want to take my money now, but then I gotta wait. Okay.
But you know what though? Maybe they're doing that so that you can live your dream of having mats.
Maybe. I hope so. That means they know me very well, and that's creepy.
It's a very... Listen, dude, the FBI agent that watches my house, I tell him plenty of times, it's really boring here. You might want to move on somewhere else.
If they can watch somebody that has mats, that would be helpful.
I think it would be good. I think it'd be a very, very nice thing. They might learn something, too.
Yeah, so just help your local patron train again. That's all we're trying to do here, you know?
Fair enough.
Just help them in need.
Here's what we're going to do, Frosto. I'm going to close this bitch up. I will say hello to you off air. I cannot say enough good things. You know what? Before we leave, though, we forgot to toast one Dustin Poirier.
Dude, I suck at toasting because I drink beyond the toast, and then I'm just out. So
I will do the toast on this one. All right, that's fair. This toast goes on out to Dustin Poirier. First and foremost, hey, listen, dude. Thanks for making this division so much fun. This isn't just a you made tonight fun. You're always making fights fun to watch. And you got one back. And I know that doesn't always happen in MMA. But you did so in exciting fashion. And I think what's really nice about tonight is we put some goddamn respect on that name. And really, really fucking well done. You deserve it. And big ups to you. And thank you very much for putting together a good charity to take care of people. That's very nice of you. Cheers to you. One Dustin Poirier. The only diamond I like.
No, yeah.
No, none of that. Okay. right, Frosto, I'll see you off air in a second. Thank you so much for joining me tonight, sir.
Later, guys.
All right, friends, let's talk about this very quickly. We've got some good stuff coming your way. First and foremost, we're talking with Brianna St. Marie, I think tomorrow, if not maybe on Tuesday, in terms of when it will air. But let's just say it airs tomorrow live. And let's go ahead and make sure you guys tune back into that. You can follow me at any of these places. We're talking at Grappling Hour on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, Periscope, and the Twitch. If you would be so kind, though, and give us a 5-star rating over on our Apple Podcast page, mwah. And if you want to follow us on Spotify, mwah, again, we appreciate that. Love to our sponsors, X Marshall, Manscaped, use the promo code VerbalTap for 20% off. And, of course, our friends over at Dodgy Collective. We have so much more show for you guys this week. Red, a.k.a. One, Richard Alarcon, returns the show to find out if he beat Kevin in the latest installment of Over Under Kevin, and much, much more. We have so much coming your way. I am so excited to see you guys. It's been a great day for grappling. We'll see you back on the mats. Eventually.